Good morning, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. It's 11 o'clock. I'm on a little early, but what the fuck? I'm ready to go. So I got to check if the pool's open. The pool's been closed for the last few days, really pissing me off. But they don't have power. I got my power back, as you can see by the lights. Let's see if the pool's reopened. I don't know. There's no email. If there's no email, we don't know. So I'm going to assume it's not open yet. Motherfucker. All right. So where did we leave off? Yes. Gold and silver and football and baseball and poker and economics, BRICS, and all this fun stuff. So BRICS is a few weeks away. The U.S. is shitting in their pants because they don't want to gold back currency because they can't compete with it with this bullshit dollar. But there's too many countries up against it, and Biden is on BRICS side because he's paid off by China. So I don't think there's anything happening. We will see. But according to Andrew Maguire, they're going to have they're still going ahead with it. Russia is very adamant. See, when you got a country like Russia leading it, not Gaddafi, not Saddam Hussein, that's okay. Anyway, I hear my coffee ready. Give me 2 seconds. Okie doke. Sorry about that, everybody. I never know if I should make coffee and then come on and then do that. Sorry for the wait. This is fish oil. My supplement. Okay. Today's a fast day. Just what happens is you get fucked up. You start eating cherries because they're on sale and they're good and they're summer. And that leads you to eating ice cream and donuts and other shit that you shouldn't eat. And then you way overeat. Then you gain weight and you don't feel good. And then my eyes were getting a little blurry, which is definitely signs of diabetes. It gets water in your eyes, I guess. So I got rid of all that. And so today I had dinner at 6 o'clock, some chicken yesterday. I'm not eating today. I'll get my Chinese, but I probably won't eat it till Monday. Anyway, go to the gold store yesterday, and I don't know what I'm going to buy. I bring like $700. I'm expecting either a quarter ounce or silver. And he had the rounds of silver. And so I said, well, and then I saw a half ounce of gold. It was Bobby's favorite. It was the Austrian Philharmonics with the guitars and the Stradivariuses and everything else, and the building on the back. So it was a half ounce. And I said, perfect. And the guy gave me a good price on it. He didn't really have it priced. So he took the maple leaf ounce, which was 2025 or something, 2050 for the maple leaf ounce. And he just said, I'll give it to you for half. So it was 1,022. And I said, how can I beat that? And I'm looking on eBay, they're all $1,100, and the Americans are like $1,200. To me, gold's gold, so I don't care. And it's just amazing how people, I says, where are you getting them from? Because obviously you're not ordering from Austria. And he goes, well, people are coming in and they're selling their gold. They need money. And it's a sad state, but that's inflation. So anyway, he had 2 Philharmonic halves. He did have some Eagles, which I didn't care about. He had some Maple Leafs, I believe. And he had a few 1/10 of an ounces left, but I got 10 of them, so I'm done with those. Now, I don't believe in barter because I do believe in it, but I don't believe we'll go to barter. I believe what'll happen is we'll just go to a new currency as this goes to the bottom of the Atlantic. Then they'll come out with a new boat, a new dollar. And if it ain't backed by gold, it'll be worthless. If it's CBDC, it'll be worthless. I expect what they're thinking with CBDC is you just use your credit card and debit card the way you use now. I don't think they would issue a new card. And that's only the central bank to the banks. It's not to us. So we'll go into, Chase or Bank of America, and there'll be credits in our account as opposed to money. And we'll just simply, when I go to the store with my debit card, it'll be the same credits that I have now. Although if I want, I can get money and rip it up. And then we'll still buy as much gold as we can get. So let's take a quick look. Silver 24.34, gold 19.59. Again, these prices are fantasy, but that's what they're at. I did a good thing on LinkedIn. Let me show you. So I was reading this article, doing what the Teaserking does. It must be this one. No, there was another. I hit another article. Let's see if I put it in a different place. Sometimes I save it, but it's not in the right bookmark. No. Anyway. So I was looking at this auction in eBay on gold and silver. The guy had it priced wrong. He had it priced at $290 for a roll of 20 silver eagles. And he was from Spain. And I know if it looks too good to be true, it probably isn't. So that's $15 an ounce. So either there was only 10 in the roll or he miscalculated. Either way, I got a little curious. And he says, oh, there's millions of ounces of silver printed. So I went here and I see there's 244 tons of gold and 550,000 tons of silver. That's how many exist on Earth. So 244,000 tons. If China has 60 and Russia has got 25, 85, and then India and the other BRICS, probably another 30 to 40. So that's what, 85, that's like 120. That only leaves you 120 left. Now there's 32,000 ounces to a ton. So I haven't even bought a ton yet. It should be my new goal. I won't get 1 ton of gold. I'm about 31,900 away, but that would be a good goal. But that shows you what the banks do. I mean, for China to have 60,000 tons. Oof. Then there's 550,000 tons of silver. So there's a lot. There's more silver. That's where you get the 10-to-1 ratio. As you can see, it's like 2 to 1 here. It's 240 to 550. So 240 times 2, let's call it 500. So that's where they get this 10 to 1, although I'm looking at 2 to 1 here. So the price should fit back to 10 to 1 just because that's how much there is. So the question now is demand. In the auction, the guy says, oh, there's millions of ounces of silver. And they looked it up and they do like 13 million, 10 million, 9 million a year. And I'm thinking, well, is that like, are we at tops or are we not? I mean, what are we looking at here in supply of gold and silver? So when you see how much they made, the question is how much the demand is. Well, you got how many billions of people. If they all want silver, there's not nearly enough supply. So you've got to look at demand of gold versus the 244,000 tons of it, of which 120 is already at central banks, China, Russia, India. It's the little guys, but I'm buying ounces, so I don't even get to a ton, right? Probably all of us would never get, that's 32,000 ounces. So that leads you to how much is really left. And then you got some big guys, Planeter, a company bought $50 million worth or something. So, it gets bought up. Does it have to go to zero? No, but there's huge demand for it. So as I'm saying, I keep saying, to people, there's no risk in gold because there's always demand for it. The risk in the dollar, so you have gold and you have the dollar. And the risk in the gold is no risk. There's always demand for it. And they can't keep printing it. They keep printing it until now there's no demand for it. That's the inflation. And if there's no demand, there's no market. And if there's no market, it goes to zero. That's what you're fighting. That's what the dollar has lost. They've lost the market because they've lost demand, and therefore they've lost the value. If there's no demand and there's no market, there's no value. There's this article I looked at. I got to get to my pictures. So Ford cut the price of the electric version of its signature F-150 by as much as $10,000 as a glut of expensive electric vehicles had begun piling up at the dealerships. The New York Times reported Monday the number of unsold battery-powered trucks and cars has shot up to 90,000, roughly 4 times as much as last year, which is enough to last 103 days at the current pace of sales, more than double the industry average. So you're making this product that there's no demand for, which is, if you understood Austrian economics, you could run your business very smoothly just by that principle. Do we have demand? What's our cost? What can we sell it for? And if we can sell it for more than our cost because there's a market, then we can do it. So Ford dumps everything into the electric cars, and they've got 90,000 cars unsold. Do they have a value? Nobody wants them. Would there be a value at $1,000? Maybe. So you have to figure out what your market is. Right now, there's no demand. You've got all these Ford electric cars that nobody wanted Ford in the first place. Just think of the Detroit Lions, and you'd never buy a Ford. So here they say the number of unsold battery-powered trucks, they don't say electric trucks, right? Shot up to 90,000. At the current pace of sales, more than double the industry-wide average, according to New York Times, citing data from the company raised the price repeatedly by a total of 20,000, with retailers charging several $1,000s more than Ford's suggested retail price. So here's a product you can't sell, and you're raising the price. You can't raise the price on a product you can't sell. And then let's add these 7-8% interest rates that you're going to pay unless you can buy it for cash. So anybody holding Ford stock, I might ask why. They're losing their ass because they can't sell their fucking cars. So now is this inflation going down because they raised the price 20,000? Now they just lowered it 10 because they can't sell their car. Does that mean inflation's coming down? According to these morons, it does. Well, prices are coming down, so therefore inflation is. Well, no, they raised the price 20,000. They couldn't sell it. Now they're lowering it 10 grand to try to sell it. That doesn't make inflation coming down. Jesus. That's the problem with the way they do it. New car market. Ford, Tesla dropped prices by up to 20% thanks to millions of unwanted EVs. Millions of unwanted EVs. So here's more on Tesla, Musk, and the Ford idiots, and they're just making their cars. They don't have a demand for them. They're making them. So something smells like the government's behind this. You make them, and if you can't sell them, we'll buy it. Who is that stupid to run a business with no demand for my product? I'm going to make 10 million of them. There's 10 million. And then let's add 8-9% interest rates, and you can't charge the car. Where do you charge it at, and how long is it good, and all this shit. So you put it all together, it makes no sense. So they're dropping prices 20% thanks to no demand. Well, you can drop them 50%. You still have no demand because nobody wants a fucking electric car. This is Say's law, basic economic principle. It's what does the market bear? We're the consumer. They're the producer. So us consume. So we go to work, we make money, we consume. The producer makes the products that we're going to consume. The producer does not make products that we don't want to consume and wonder why they're not selling them. That's communism, kind of socialism, but communism, socialism on steroids. So basically, the government tries to determine the market instead of the individual. This is what happens. So the government says, make 10 million of them, and they go, well, fuck, we made 10 million of them. But you know what? Nobody wants them. Millions of unwanted, millions of unwanted product. Is the price too high? No, there's nobody wants it. You go out like now, you can't even. I heard Toyota. He says as soon as we get a car in, somebody buys it, a regular car, not an electric. Again, they're waiting for them, but nobody wants the electric cars. Can't sell them. Nobody wants it. And then you go to the 8% interest rates that you're going to get, unless you have perfect credit. Maybe it's 7.5. See, I love when they say that. Well, the interest rates went down from 7 to 6.95. Like that's a big deal. But they still, it's $800-900. Now that's for perfect with 800 credit or 750. How about the guy whose credit's down? He's paying 10-11% because the guy loaning the money is worried he's going to get paid back. And this is the problem. So you're making a product there's no demand for yet. Tesla stock, $275 a share. Does Tesla have earnings? I don't know. I don't know how he can't sell this fucking car. It's got to cost him a lot to produce it. I don't care if he uses fucking robots, people, or aliens. I mean, Tesla, this guy, Musk, whatever his name is, likes to talk Chinese kind of, where you don't know what the fuck is he saying. He tries to come across like he's smart, and then he wears all these little get-ups where he's got sunglasses and a cowboy hat on, playing to his audience, no doubt. Yeah, I'm not seeing any skill set. He buys Twitter and then fires all the Twitter people. Do you know what they did? Why would you fire all of them? Okay, they're politics. Okay. Then they all go work at Facebook. For Zuckerberg takes them and says, we'll figure out how Twitter's made. Because Zuckerberg has Facebook but doesn't know how it works. Twitter's just simply typing 2 lines, 3 lines, and that's it. I mean, Twitter's useless. I'd rather be in WhatsApp talking to Jenna and Daria than be in Twitter, where everybody can see my little 2-line conversation. I have a big lot going this week. That's about all I use Twitter for. But I don't see the value. I don't know why you'd buy it. I don't know why they would restrict people. The whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. But, this Musk comes across, now we're going to do AI. Oh, okay, good luck to you. They've been using robots at Mercedes and at GM and Ford for a long time. That's AI. I don't know what you're talking about. It's all just computers, really. So big fucking deal. We've seen it. We've got computers. We know what that is. Okay, good luck to you using computers like you're the only company that uses computers. So I don't know why you would own the stock. Here's a product that can't sell, yet it's $275 because financial advisors get paid to put you in it. You don't know what you're doing, so you listen to your financial advisor, and then it all ends up on Attack on Wall Street, where you go shoot your financial advisor because he just lost you all your money. So he can get a commission. This is why you don't listen to financial advisors or stockbrokers, because all they care about is their commission. And I know I saw this one where it's we only get paid if you make money. Yeah, don't believe it. Look at the small print. I guarantee you're paying them something. I'm sure there's management fees you're paying them. Then they might not get commission unless that. Here's one. Single family home starts fall 7% amid high rates and high material costs. So now they're not even building houses, which they're desperately in need of. Anheuser-Busch handed win amid outgoing Bud Light boycott. I don't know what that is. The dollar troubles are far from over. Ford savings statements look like it has for years. Pickups and commercial trucks fueled sales. The F-150 overall, the largest selling vehicle. That's the only reason Ford, if I was running Ford, that would be my only product, because I'm too stupid to make cars that sell and make that. I guess some of their Lincolns sell, but they're way too expensive for normal people. The rest of their cars are shit. Their maintenance is shit. The dealerships treat you like crap. After all, the largest selling vehicle in America makes up over 1/3 of Ford's total unit sales. Missing is what never existed. Sales of electric vehicles were virtually nil. Ford, which is losing tons of money on EV development and marketing, said the number of people who wanted its EVs was small and will be in the immediate future. Part of Ford's argument for EV sales weakness was a lack of demand. Say's law. Duh, there was never demand in the first place. It is an odd statement given that Tesla sold 466,000 vehicles in the most recent quarter, but they sold them in China. They didn't sell them here. Is Ford in China? In other words, there is demand for EVs, but Tesla has no U.S. competition. Tesla is about to launch its Cybertruck, which will compete directly with the Ford flagship EV, the F-150. That may make Ford's EV dilemma worse. Tesla says there is nearly 5-year wait for the Cybertruck that almost certainly will shrink because not everyone in the waiting line will buy one. Ford earned 72 cents per share in the quarter, up from 68 in the same quarter a year ago. Automobile revenue came in at $42 billion, up an impressive 12%. Ford's EV division had a loss before interest and taxes of $1 billion. On top of the $700 million it lost in the same quarter of last year. The automaker also pushed back its EV production goal, saying it will now produce 600,000 EVs annually by the end of 2024, backing off from a previous time of doing so by the end of this year. Ford CEO Jim Farley said the market was still unsettled and would be until demand across the industry shows who had won market share and who has not. So I have no demand, and I'm still going to make, it will produce 600,000 electric vehicles that they can't sell. So what is this guy doing running the business, right? Just unbelievable. So there's a lot of that bullshit going along. Basically, houses are fucked, cars can't sell, nobody wants electric cars. And then we get to under $2,000. Now we get to Andrew Maguire, which I'll get to in a minute. So it's all very easy to understand. We produce, we demand products. That's what you make. This is why communism and socialism can't work, because the government wants to be the market and says, we're going to make electric vehicles. Is there demand for them? No. I don't know how the fuck you're going to make them. Who's going to buy them? Because at the end of the day, we're the ones with the money. We're the ones buying. So if you don't listen to us, that's why governments can't run the market, that the individuals have to. I want a blue t-shirt. If the communist government says we're not making them, I can't buy one, but I want to buy one. So you got to listen to me, because I'm the one who's going to buy it. I'm the one who creates the market. I'm the one who keeps the economy going, and all of us. And that's how it works. But you listen to what we say, and we bid based on our dollars, based on sales. If we buy it, you make more. Then competition comes in, like computers, like cell phones, like my Canadian club, like my Bellagio cup. If there's demand, then other companies enter the picture. It goes back to Adam Smith, where the guy got, donuts and bread at the guy's store, and the other bakers are going, fuck, They're buying it. We'll make it. And so then you had competition and other people making it because he could see the demand for it, right? So the biggest problem is when you have a new product, how do you know what the market is? So, I don't know. Now let's look at college football. All right, I got a magazine. Is anybody going to buy it? Is there interest in college football analysis and the teams? Should I make it? And then what do I charge for it? So Street and Smith has one, and Phil Steele has one, and ESPN probably has one, and here Athens has one, and then they put a price of like $8 on it. Now people like me who want to read up on it buy it, and then as we buy it, now they raise the price on it, and now it's $12.99. It should be no more than $5.99. But okay, it's $12.99. I do it. It's once a year. Not a problem. I need to understand, and I need to see who's there. And now it's getting more difficult because of all the transfers. So now I got quarterbacks going from Wake Forest to Notre Dame. Okay, that I heard about, but then the other ones, where's McCall going? Oh, no, he stayed at Coastal Carolina. Okay. I thought he maybe was going with the coach. He didn't go with the coach to Liberty. He stayed at Coastal Carolina, which is confusing enough why he didn't go with the coach, but I'm glad he didn't. Grayson McCall is his name. First round draft picks should be by any normal GM, but we don't have them anymore. They want the running. They're telling us how good Richardson is. Oh, he looks good with shorts on in practice. Oh, okay. Too bad they play with pads and they come after him in the game, not practice. Then I heard my Georgia guys on Philadelphia were eating it up, and they're going, how the fuck did this guy go down to the 9th and the 30th spots and they didn't get drafted? And exactly. Well, that's Georgia. It's not hard. It's very easy if you see that they're the best defense, and these are couple of really good players on that defense. They're probably good defensive players. Maybe if I need defense, I would draft them. But everybody but the Lions understands that. So that's what you get. So again, I come out. Is there demand? And then what does it cost me? I'm going to sell it for $12.99. What's my cost? Well, there's something called cost per unit. The more units you make, the cheaper your cost per unit is. So if you make 5, you got a high cost per unit because you got to pay to make the magazine and the labor, and if you buy equipment and a building. So the more units you can produce, then it's per unit, it's cheaper because you're selling this $12.99 per magazine. So if I sell 1 million magazines times $12.99, it pays for all the equipment and machinery and the capital and my salaries and everything else. So again, you're kind of caught, what's my market? And that's why normally in the beginning, like computers, I know VCRs, back in the 70s, I won a lot of money in football. Big surprise, right? And I think it was that time I hit all 17 games. I win 1,700. I bought a VCR. It cost me like $1,000, I think, for a video. It was a heavy VCR, so I could work on Saturdays because I worked at the grocery store, and I could tape the games because it was always Saturday at 3:30. Or back then, it was they played at 1, they played at 4, and I think there was a night game. And so I could tape the games, and then when I got home, I watched parts of it. There was no ESPN back then. There was no cable back then, so I want to see who won. I'm jumping ahead in the tape, but so I bought the VCR. It was, let's say, $1,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, because they had the risk. Would people buy it, and can they afford it? Is there a demand in the marketplace for VCRs? Well, I bought it, but I happened to win a ton of money. So it was all one money, and I had a purpose for it because I worked Saturdays at the grocery store. I'm going to miss my college games and I need to study them. And there's no YouTube, there's no ESPN. See, now I don't need it. Now I just go on YouTube and go, well, who won the Army Navy game? And I can, fortunately I don't work Saturdays, but I could go who won the game and I get a 15 minutes of highlights. Plus, on my phone, I can just go into scores and odds and see the games. Back then, this was in I want to say the late 70s. I mean, I would go on the payphone and dial 1-800-SCORES or whatever, and they'd walk down the schedule. Clemson beat Notre Dame, South Carolina over Texas. And you would walk down the games, and I had 10 bets out, and and then the people would watch my reaction. So I'm giving half the crew who worked there picked. I'm giving them the tips, and everybody's making money on me, and I felt good about that. And no, I didn't charge, although I probably could have. But no, your work buddies, it's hard to charge them for. So then it became, here's this VCR, which I wanted to see the games. There was no YouTube. And so what happens now, there's demand for it, and the price is $1,000. So here comes RCA and Sony and all these other brands. They go, okay, there's demand for it, but we can make it cheaper than the $1,000 because we can make a lot per unit. So they go and they said, okay, fine, we can sell a lot of these. So the price went down to $500. Is that deflation? No. Is that inflation coming down? No. That's called competition in the marketplace. And I'm going to compete. I'm Sony, and this is, RCA maybe I bought or something like that. So that's $1,000. I can sell it for $800. And I can get a piece of the market. And it only cost me $200 to make it. Because now I see how they make it, and I can tweak it and make more and make it more efficiently. So then the price goes down to $800, and then here comes Zenith and all the other name brands. And before you know it, it's about $300 for VCR. And I was kind of pissed going, fuck, I paid $1,000 for it. And mine was so heavy. And then it finally got thinner and thinner. And then the price went down to $99. And then it went to the TVs updated, and then you could record on your TV. So you didn't need the VCR anymore, but that was 10 years later. But there was a market. The price we voted on, so the $1,000 price goes down to, let's say, $300. As the price drops, demand goes up because now I can afford it. So not a lot of people could afford $1,000 for a VCR, but my purpose was to watch the games. That was it. And so therefore it was worth it to me, and I just won $1,700, so I had the money to do it. And so that was what happened. So you end up where, is there a market? You don't know. So the guy who made the first VCR charged $1,000 because he says, well, if we sell 100 of these, we'll break even or whatever, whatever. That's how he's playing it. So the first one in charges more. As the competition comes in, the price lowers because they're competing. I can sell it for $800. You're selling it for $1,000. Then they come back and go, oh shit. Okay, now volume's going up because now there's competition, and now more people are aware and more people are buying. We're going to lower our price to $400. We're going to lower our price to $300. That's why we love competition. And it gets better. It gets thinner. There's more functions. And so now everybody's going, oh, shit, for $300, we can do it. The same thing with flat screens. The same thing with these phones. They started high, and then this phone cost me $100. Does everything I need. I mean, I can record my YouTubes. I can get on the internet, check my email. I can text the girls in Europe. I can on WhatsApp. I can call. I can take photos. I get messages. So I don't even need all that in the phone. Before you just made calls. Now I can text, take pictures, talk to my friends in Europe on WhatsApp. I can get other apps. I can check email. So it's very good. This what they did with phones, and that the price comes down. Now it's $100. Oh fuck, I'll buy one every year. Keep it updated. So I mean that's really what it is. But in the beginning, you don't know if there's a market for it. Now phones, you had the landline. Do I want a cell phone where everybody has their own phone and can carry it with them? But I need towers and signals. They're expensive. And then will people, they're used to a landline. Would they want a cell phone? And then it took off, and then it's all over the world. You'll see something in India or China or Russia, and everybody has cell phones now. So the demand, so it was perfect once you get into it. So if you see something like that coming, like a cell phone down the road, then that's, you buy that stock because you can see the demand's going to be there. And it's amazing how everybody can afford it. I don't have any money, I can't eat, but I can have a cell phone. I love that. So that's what you're doing, is you're looking for the market. And so you're kind of edging it out. So let's take the electric vehicles. Well, we know there's demand for gas-powered cars, but we don't know if there's demand for electric cars. Why should I get rid of my gas-powered car for an electric car? What purpose? Oh, you tell me the environment. I tell you, I don't buy it. I'm not smelling what you're cooking there. Environment's fine. Everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about. So that's not going to get me into buying an electric car. Maybe Musk gambled that the environment bullshit everybody would run to gas powered cars, but we don't buy what he's cooking. We don't smell what he's cooking. So we say, no, we're not. So he's going to lose billions of dollars, and a lot of his value is in his stock. So when the stock tanks, he's all of a sudden not a millionaire anymore. I love when these guys are billionaires, because the stock, which is bullshitted, because the government prints money and puts it into the stock market for these guys, and they're worth a lot because like Zuckerberg owns Facebook, so because the stock's so high, he's rich. But he doesn't have any money. He didn't earn it. He just has it. So when his stock goes down to zero, he won't have any money. He'll be worthless. He's not smart enough to buy gold because he thinks, oh, it'll just stay there and it'll never go down. I don't even have Facebook anymore. I don't want anything to do with that guy. He's a creep. So I leave him alone. Yeah, if I saw him in public, I'd probably punch him in the nuts and tell him to go fuck off. The Crow, or Rodney Dangerfield, I don't take shit from nobody, and I ain't taking shit from that guy. So that's what you have. So Musk sits there with the electric vehicles, but in the VCR example, what happened? Sales started happening, and then RCA and Sony and all the other brands started coming in and lowering the price. Well, what's happening here? Ford's already making electric vehicles. There's no demand. Tesla sells them in China, but he doesn't sell them here. Ford ain't selling in China. So Ford's making all these vehicles, but there's millions of them unsold because nobody buys them. Why are you still making them? What are you doing? You can't sell what you made. Why would you make more? Maybe they're making more because they know silver is going to go up, and that's what goes in the battery. And if silver is $2,000 an ounce, then you're fucked. There was an article I read about how silver, what will the silver forecast go? Let me see if I can find that. So there was something, and they asked about the price of silver. Well, let's read this. Will silver ever lose its value? In the long term, you can never lose everything by investing in precious metals, no matter what any of the markets do. Your gold and silver will always have intrinsic value. There is a limited supply of these precious metals. Here we go. Will silver ever hit $100 an ounce? To reach 100, okay, so this is the guy's answer. To reach $100, the price of silver would have to grow 400% from the current level. Here are three scenarios in which that may occur. Inflation spirals out of control. Silver will reach 100 the quickest if inflation approaches double digits. Nowhere does he talk about COMEX. This is American bullion. Could silver reach $1,000 an ounce? Why, $1,000 per ounce silver is unlikely to occur. The price of silver is just under 25. At its peak, silver was trading around 50. So it would have to rise more than 100% in order for it to reach the $50 mark. It would need to increase 40 times to reach 1,000 an ounce from today's number. But he doesn't answer the question. Could the price of silver ever reach 1,000? Let's see, AmpMax. I think this is the article I was reading. And he doesn't understand the question or the answer. This is why you got to be careful who you're listening to, because these guys are fucking idiots. Why $1,000 per ounce of silver is unlikely? The price is currently under 25. At its peak, silver traded at 50, so it would have to raise more. Okay, we get the percentage. We don't give a fuck about the percentage. It would need to increase 40 times. Okay, we get that. The claim that 9-to-1 ratio should be used to peg silver to gold considers supply, but does not account for demand. It also does not account for elasticity, which again is a Keynesian word, of supply and demand and the differences between gold and silver. It's important to note that as the price of gold increases, demand and supply will adjust. Now, the demand for silver goes up because the price of gold goes up, the price of silver goes up. This guy doesn't even understand that. And silver will do the same, but at different rates. That means the price will further adjust differently. A 9-to-1 ratio has never been the standard for the gold. Yes, it has. And we don't expect that to change. Yes, we do. In short, it is highly unlikely that the price of silver will reach 1,000 per ounce. Silver is used more industrially than gold, and its price does not react the same way to economic events. That's bullshit. While silver price can react dramatically to changes in the economy, it is unlikely that silver reach 1,000, though we do not discount the possibility of triple digits silver. Nowhere in his little analysis does the guy make any comment about COMEX, about price fixing. See, these guys sit there with these stupid articles, are fucking clueless of the reality. We know it because we've watched football games that are fixed. And I know you guys go, do you think football is fixed? Not every game's fixed. There's certain calls, like a pass interference, a holding call, that nobody sees the penalty. It's kind of fixed like that. But at the end of the day, was the Kansas City-Cincinnati game for the Super Bowl fixed? I don't think so. I do think the last play where the guy hits Mahomes and he does a swan dive out of bounds to get the penalty, I think that was fixed. But I don't think they fixed the game. I think it was 20-20. So clearly, I don't see how you fix that. Not every game's fixed. And what's fixed in it is the point spread, is the total. Now they have how many yards the guy throws for. So who knows? I do know the Lions, every time they make a completion, get a holding call, and I love it. But generally, you have to understand everything's fixed to a point. Stock market, if you don't think that's fixed, wake up. That's, how many movies do I got to go through with you to explain The Big Short, The Margin Call, Attack on Wall Street, all those. The Attack on Wall Street was perfect. The guy goes to the guy who's going to kill him, and he says, oh, it's all fixed. We make our commissions. You lose. he says, he makes a comment which I didn't like, and they said, well, you got to pay to play. So when you tell them, give me 60,000 and I put it in this real estate trust, and you're going to get 8%, provided people don't default on their mortgage, and then we're going to say it goes to zero. That's the price you pay for playing. And that got me really upset. Like, you motherfucker, he doesn't know what he's doing. You do. You put him in a risky thing, and he's telling you not to give him any risk, and you put him in an extremely risky thing. Because I knew as soon as Clinton said, hey, let's let these people go, and if they default, the government will cover it. He said that. He changed the law in the late 90s, which led to this whole housing crisis. And so I knew that would happen back in, as soon as Clinton did it. I go, okay, what's the repercussions? You always think ahead. And so I knew it was all doomed by then. I didn't lose a penny in 2008. Not a penny. Didn't lose a penny in 2000. I saw all the ITs going up. I looked at, I had a stepfather, he's died. And I looked at his portfolio. Now, he never trusted me. We didn't get along. I didn't like him. We didn't get along. So he, somehow I look at his portfolio, or he shows me, and I start laughing. He's got 20 IT stocks. No gold, no silver, no Microsoft. I probably had Microsoft. No, nothing but every IT company that was bubbled, and he owns them all. When it crashed, he lost it. I says, well, no wonder you lost. You're in every fucking tech stock. You don't know what you're doing. He's listening to his brother. Well, his brother isn't a tech guy. Again, I had to put him in gold, and he would have never lost a penny. It's amazing how nobody goes into gold. It doesn't make sense that everybody runs to stock, which is here, and yet all you hear about is Madoff, and you hear Attack on Wall Street, and you hear all these horror stories where people lose all their money because they're in a fixed game. Look at Madoff. The whole fucking thing was fixed. He didn't buy anything. Now, why he didn't buy gold he's even dumber than, he ran the scam and he was an idiot. And these other guys that were in it, why aren't they buying gold? The rich guys that fed the fund, and JP Morgan and the SEC. The fuck, all these guys got paid off. But anyway, you never hear people buying gold, but yet all you'll hear is, oh, everybody lost their ass in the stock market because it's fixed. It's about the brokers, and it's about the JP Morgans and the Shearson Lehman and whoever, Merrill Lynch, whatever the fuck, how do they make money? So we're Merrill Lynch. How do we make money? Well, we'll invent shit, and we'll have our guys sell it, and we'll get commission from all these idiots who don't know what a stock is, and they're going to give us $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. We'll get our commission and our management fees, and that's how we'll make money. We're not going to buy this shit. And that's what happens. So they go and they sell, like the margin call. They sold all the Ritz and Attack on Wall Street. They sold the real estate trust. They didn't have it. They sold it. And then they keep saying, well, we'll have a lot of bad customers. I don't give a fuck. We got to dump it so we can recover our money. That's what Wall Street is. It's about selling stocks to you at a nice profit. So that's all fixed. So anybody that gets in the stocks, that's why when I'm in gold stocks, I'm not in it now because I'd rather buy the fucking shit. All I know is if you're in stocks, I get in and I get out. And every day the gold stock, why does the gold stock drop at 10 o'clock every fucking day? Really? Every fucking day. Does the gold stocks drop? That's London price fixing it. I mean, it's all price fixed. So you wait till then, and then as it starts going back up, because it's really not demanded down, it goes up. You make 30, 40 cents. That's the only way to beat Wall Street, is to do exactly that. But in gold, the 10 o'clock's happening. In Microsoft or Amazon, you don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe it happens at 10, but I've never looked at them that closely to see every day is at noon, Microsoft going down, and then it comes back up, and I can buy it at 12:30. I don't know. I have no desire to buy that shit. But it's all fixed. So that's what you got to look out for. Their intention is for them to make money, not for you. So it's like you're at the casino. You're playing blackjack is the perfect example. You bust before the dealer, you lose. You got 14, the dealer's got a 10 up, you hit up, you got 24, you busted. They take your money right away, and then they have 16 and bust. But wait a minute. If you think about it, you both busted. Why do you lose? Because you busted first. What kind of game is that? What do you mean I busted first, so I lose, even though we both bust? So if you look at the end of the game, I had 24, you had 24. We both busted. It should be a tie. No, but you busted first, so you lose, even though I busted second. That's the whole Wall Street and everything else. That's why you get the fuck out, because they'll lose. Margin call, they lost, but you lost first. They sold all the worthless shit, and then they lost their ass, but then they got out of it. So always remember that. Football, for as much as people think it's fixed, is we can make money at it. You see, I make money at it. I can pick the games because I understand the logic of how the game is played by watching it for 50 years or 60 years. I think I started watching when I was 5 years old, but I understand it. And that's why, I see a Georgia and I get all excited. We're betting this under, and we hit the under every fucking week with Georgia, because you can't move on them, and they don't score a whole lot, but they score enough, but they run the rest of their defense. Kirby Smart gets it. And we make a ton on him. We make a ton on Iowa State and Washington State and Iowa. We get it. We get what to look for. So even if you fix the Georgia game, how are you going to fix it? I mean, the only way you fix things is with penalties. So how are you going to fix Georgia over? You can't. So if they make the line 52, the only fix is it's going to stay under. But then we tease it, which offsets the fix, because they're not looking at the teaser. They're looking at the straight play. So if the over-under is 52 in a Georgia game and all the money's going over, you guarantee they ain't going to get to 52. On the other hand, if all the money is going under, then there'll be a few pass interference calls or stuff like that crazy, but it'll only get to 53, not the 58 we're teasing under on. That's the real hidden secret of the teaser that everybody doesn't understand. And everybody goes, well, you got to win 2 games. Well, fuck you. Listen to my videos. How many games do I give you? 25, 30 winners every freaking Saturday? It's a piece of cake. It's so easy to do that. I keep waiting for Al Pacino to call me. I was watching that movie. It's so stupid. What I hate about those movies is they make me look bad, or people like me. Here's McConaughey, and he's out for a jog, and the mafia, threatens him and pees on him, and he can't pick his nose. I've never, ever, and I've been doing this since 1977, ever couldn't pick games. I never had. I would have some screwed up games where I get last second. That's happened to me. My worst week will be 5 and 8, let's say, and and then that's it. And then I get mad, and then I come back with 12 and 2. I don't ever run into what he did. I mean, that's for me impossible. But I know what I'm looking for. See, that's how I think, and we're all lucky I'm an INFJ, because I know what to look for, and I know what not to look for. I don't care about time of possession. I don't care about turnovers. It's all fucking useless. It's defense and the quarterback, and knowing the quarterback, and knowing, as I say with Lamar Jackson, he's playing chess without his bishops and rooks. When Tom Brady used his bishop and rooks, and he used his knight in Gronk. I mean, he knew what to do, or he used his rooks out of the backfield, or his bishop, Wes Welker, or whatever. He understood the complete game of chess and how to use all the pieces. Lamar doesn't. Tagliabue doesn't. Half these guys hurts. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Because in Alabama, they just use the bishops. They just throw the ball long down the field. And at half these, that's why Ohio State, this is how stupid Ohio State is. They let Joe Burrow go. He was their third string quarterback. Could you imagine Joe Burrow, the third string quarterback at Ohio State behind JT Barrett and whoever else? You're all fucked up, Ohio State. You got the best quarterback since Joe Montana, and he's third string on your team. You can't spot talent. Then he tries to go to Nebraska, and Scott Frost says, "Oh, you're not a quarterback, you're a safety." What are they hiring? How are these coaches? They're so fucked up. They don't know a superstar when they get one. They don't know, I'm going to make you a safety. I mean, then he walks to LSU with Chasen Jefferson, and guess what? He throws 600 touchdowns and 2 picks, and they score 50 points a game. His last year, and they kill Alabama, and they kill Georgia and Clemson, all these teams. They kill him. Yeah, I guess he knows what he's doing, and now he's a superstar in the pros. So, yeah, good call, Ohio State. This is why I attack Ohio State, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You let Burrow go, and you keep, and then you get Fields. Let's put it in proper perspective. Fields was at Georgia. He couldn't beat out Stetson Bennett, so he transfers to Ohio State. And everybody, Stetson Bennett's not good. He beat out Fields. This is the part of the equation everybody misses. Stetson Bennett was better than Fields. Fields goes to Ohio State. Ohio State takes the second string quarterback from Georgia. And, look how good he is. I still am listening on the radio. Fields is good. Fields is going to do this. And, I still think he's good. Based on what? He can't hit a wide open receiver. He can't even read a defense. Well, then we got C.J. Stroud. Look for him. He'll do good. He went to Ohio State. Yeah. Anybody from Ohio State I have big question marks about because they don't even know what the fuck they're doing there. We don't want Joe Burrow. We'll put him at third string. Are you fucking out of your minds? So anyway, it's just really crazy. And in fact, I read something on Joe Burrow yesterday. So he hurts his calf. God knows why he's running in a scrimmage where they're wearing shorts. Just throw the ball. It should all be passing, right? He shouldn't be running out of the pocket. He should either hand off or just pass. So so Chase said, well, he winked at me. He's okay. So it's probably just a pulled calf muscle. He'll be out a week or two. He's fine. He'll be ready for week 1. So who knows what's going on, but it's probably all staged to keep the line down. And this way he gets out of practice, like he needs practice. Anyway, so I'm glad he's okay. But that's what you have. So everything's fixed. We understand that. So don't be so surprised. Football is fixed. When I hear that, I'm just rolling my eyes. Yeah, go put money in the stock market. Why is Tesla $270 a share when they fucking can't sell an electric vehicle and they keep lowering their prices and lowering their prices to get what? To get rid of the competition? You don't have any competition because you don't have a product. You don't have a market for electric vehicles. So what the fuck are you thinking about? So that's really what I look at. There is no market for electric vehicles. And how do you buy stock in a car company with interest rates at 8%? So keep your eye. If you want to really, like, that inflation number is such bullshit. It's still 15%. It didn't go down because they don't measure it properly. They're looking at cost. You raise interest rates, guess what? Products that are impacted by interest rates, houses and cars, how are they going to go up in price? Because they basically have gone up in price by the interest rate. So a $30,000 Camry at 3% versus at 8%, the payment I had was $470 for a $25,000 Camry at 2.5% in 2018 is now $900 a month. You've raised the price of the car, right? It's now going to cost you $900, not $470. How the fuck are you going to sell it? Inflation's down because the car price, because now we found a product that's been dropped. So we're going to use that as our key to say, look, inflation's down. What a bunch of horse shit, right? Just fucking ridiculous. And that's all I can say and so you can't listen to these idiots. That's why it's hard to listen to these guys on the radio talk football or baseball. One guy was saying how good Shotani was because he pitched a one-hitter against Detroit, which is not even a minor league team, and then he hit 2 home runs. Oh, this is the greatest player I've ever seen. You ever see Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron, Brooks Robinson, Koufax, Bob Gibson? The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Derek Jeter, Reggie, give me a fucking break. What are we, a bunch of idiots? So the guy pitches. He pitches a one-hitter. You're facing the Tigers. 6 of their hitters don't hit 200 or don't hit 220. They have one 290 hitter on their team. So you pitched a one-hitter against that? I mean, that's fucking Toledo. That's no talent. Then you hit 2 home runs in the second game as a DH. What are you saying then? Pitchers don't get tired? So then why are they only pitching 5 innings or 100 pitches? I thought because they get tired. But wait, this guy can DH in the second game and hit? And then he hits 2 home runs. Who did he hit him off of? Which 6.5 ERA Tiger pitcher did he hit him off of? So you're all impressed. Let's see him do that against Koufax, Bob Gibson, Clemens, Nolan Ryan. Yeah, he ain't hitting the ball against those guys. So again, they don't take into consideration the competition, just the fact he did it. I don't see any pitcher doing it. Well, there's a pitcher on the tag. First of all, you didn't have the DH for a long time, and you never had it in the National League. So let's say this. There's a pitcher on the Tigers in 68, Earl Wilson, great athlete, hit a home run in the World Series. He would have done it. I mean, according to what you're doing now, if there was a DH, he would have been the DH when he wasn't pitching, and he'd have hit 50 homers. That guy was a great hitter, but he was the pitcher. He pitched every 4th day, and he didn't bat. So there's plenty of examples, but you're looking at it now. California's so fucked up that they have this guy. Now, they scored 14 runs in the game, I think. So it's not like they played this really good pitcher on the Tigers. Again, this is the team that when you're pitching a no-hitter, you get pulled in the 6th inning because you pitched 80 pitches. That's how fucked up the Tigers are. So don't get all, it's Shohei Ohtani. Look how great he is. And then he's not that great. What's his ERA is like 4 or 3, upper 3s. That's not good. McClanahan, Scherzer, Verlander, much better ERAs. And then I guess he's leading the league in home runs. What's his batting average and RBIs? I don't know. They don't even talk about that anymore. It's all OPS. OPS is I got 100 hits and I've got 50 doubles. So my OPS is, I guess, 500 or something like that. So it's measuring your extra base hits against your hits. It's totally meaningless. If you're hitting 300, I don't care if they're all singles or all home runs. It doesn't matter how many extra base hits you get out of your hits if you're hitting 300. So I want to hear batting average, which I never hear, home runs and RBIs. The most important is RBIs. Are you driving in runs? Well, they never talk that. They only talk OPS, and then they'll say the guy's got a 500 OPS, like that's his batting average. The OPS is not the batting average. So I don't want to hear the 500 OPS is good, like that's the batting average. Oh, he's got a 900 OPS. All right, that means he hits most of his hits are extra base. Is he hitting 200? Does he have 50 RBIs? That's all I care about. That's the whole point of measuring the batter is that. And the pitcher, it's all ERA. And the guy's saying, oh, no, it's about the walk rate and the strikeout rate. And you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Can he get the guys out when he's got the bases loaded? I don't care about his strikeout walk rates. Who gives a fuck? Bases are loaded, nobody out. Is he going to allow the runs, or is he going to get out of the jam with a double play and a pop out? That's what you care about, is how many runs do you give up? Just like in football, how much points does the defense give up? That's what you want to know. That's what I look at. Georgia, you can't score on Georgia. Fuck, I'm betting them under every fucking game. Because I know if it's 50, I know the other team's getting 0, and they're going to get 30. They're going to win 30-0. That's what they do. Just amazing because they're smart enough to run the ball, and they got great runners. I'm still laughing. The Lions think they got the guy from Alabama. Oh, well, they're going to use him out of the backfield. Alabama didn't. He caught 20 balls last year. He ran for 900 yards on Alabama with 13, 14 games against weak opponents in a passing offense. And you think he's better than the Georgia guy or Guy Charbonnet, the guy that was on UCLA that Seattle got both of these motherfuckers? Seattle is smart. They're going to run the ball and rest their defense. The Lions, if you're dumb enough to bet the Lions to win the division, I feel sorry for you. You know, you're just throwing your money away. The Bears have no chance. Minnesota will probably win the division. Jordan Love at Green Bay. They got a terrible coach. You couldn't win with you couldn't win the division with Aaron Rodgers. You ain't winning it with Jordan Love. That I guarantee you. They'll need a new quarterback in a year or two. Love will be gone. He's not very good. He had one good year at Utah State, followed by one bad year at Utah State. And what's he going to do at Green Bay? What's the coach going to do? Anyway, so we'll look at baseball real quickly, and then we'll get into Andrew McGuire. So we got 12-14. All right. The earliest game's at 3:00, so that's good. We got California against Toronto. Detmers 2-7 with the 4.38 against Alex Manoah, 2-8 with the 6.10. Love the game over here, over under 9. Detroit and Miami, we got Bo Brisky, 0-0 with the 4.76 for Detroit. Probably the guy who gave up the home runs to Ohtani. Against Johnny Cueto, who used to be really good. He's 0-1 with the 4.50. I like Miami here. Better offense. Both pitchers suck, so probably a lot of runs. Maybe we can go. I don't know. Do we go over with Detroit with 6 hitters hitting under 220? Somehow they score runs. I don't really understand. Let's go over 8.5. Philly and Pitt, we got Nola 9-6 with the 4.25 ERA against Quinn Priester, 1-1 with a 9.28 ERA. Let's go over 9 in this game. Nola probably gets the win, but you never know. I mean, this guy could pitch 3 innings for Pitt, and they go to the bullpen, and then all of a sudden they shut him down. So let's go over here. Cleveland and Chicago, I don't have pitchers. Minnesota KC, we got Bailey Ober, 6-4, the 2.76 ERA, and Jordan Lyles. We bet against this guy all the time. 1-12 with a 6.19. Take Minnesota. Let's call it a lock. Minnesota with a 2.76 ERA. That's what you look at is the ERA. He doesn't give up runs. Jordan Lyles, 1-12 with a 6.19. Gives up 6 runs in his 5 innings of pitching. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. So take Minnie. We'll lock it. Washington and the Mets. Bobby, are you playing today for the Mets? Patrick Corbin, 6-11 with a 5.01 ERA for Washington. Carlos Carrasco, 3-4 with a 5.82 for the Mets. We're going way over 9.5 in this game. The Yanks in Baltimore. We got Clark Schmidt, 6-6 with a 4.33 for the Yanks. Tyler Wells, 7-5 with a 3.65 for Baltimore. Tough game. 2 pitchers, right around 4, over under 9.5. I don't know who's hitting. Let's take Baltimore. They seem to be hot. Tampa Bay, Houston, we had McCullough yesterday. I don't know how that game ended. It was tied 4-4 in the 8th or 9th or something. He gave up like 4 runs. So McClanahan's been a little bit weak for a little bit. Ty Bradley, 5-6 with the 5.30 for Tampa. Hunter Brown, 6-7 with the 4.19 for Houston. We'll go over 8.5. Both teams can hit the ball. The Cubbies and the Cards, tail on for the Cubs, 4-6 with the 5.75 against Wainwright, 3-4 with the 7.31. Let's go over 10. Two crap pitchers. You wonder what they're doing. And now Wainwright, I've heard of. He's just having a bad year. But Talon, 4-6 with the 5.75. These are major league pitchers. Bobby, if you were playing now, you'd be making $100 million a year, hitting 360. Boston and the 49ers. New England, Sam, that would be a good football game. Well, not this year. Brady against Montana. James Paxton, I would take Montana in the game. James Paxton, 6-2 with the 3.46 ERA against Ryan Walker, 3-0 with the 2.7. We'll go under 8.5 in this game. Good pitching. Milwaukee and Atlanta, the Braves against the Braves. Julio Teheran, 2-4 with the 3.75 ERA for Milwaukee. Bryce Elder, 7-2 with the 3.30 for Atlanta. And Atlanta hits the hell out of the ball. So where I think I'm going to go under, the over-under on this game's 10. You got two pitchers with an under 4 ERA. Let's take Atlanta with Elder, 7-2 with the 3.30 ERA. He gets the wins. Oakland, Colorado, Paul Blackburn, 1-2 with a 5.06 against Flexen. Chris Flexen for Colorado, 0-4, 7.7. Over under 12. We're going to go over, even though Oakland can't hit. Colorado at home should put up a lot of runs. Seattle at Arizona, we got Mr. Flair, Brian Wu, 1-3 with a 4.91 against Brandon Faddet. 0-4 with another major league pitcher, 8.81 ERA. I'd love to talk to the Arizona manager. What the fuck are you even playing this guy for? This guy's got to go back to the minors. I mean, if you got an 8.8 ERA, is that major league pitching? Are you kidding me? So let's go over here, over under 9.5. Well, I can't bet on Arizona with an 8.81. Mr. Wu loses every game with a 5 ERA, so I'm looking at 15 runs in this game. Over under 9.5. And Arizona can hit the ball. Texas, San Diego, both teams can hit. We got Martin Perez, 8-3 with the 4.91 against Hugh Darvish, 7-7 with the 4.8. Over under 9.5. Yeah, let's go over 9.5. Yu Darvish has been pitching pretty well lately, I've been noticing. And then Cincinnati and at the Dodgers, both good teams. Luke Weaver, 2-2, 7.2 ERA against Emmett Sheehan, 3.16. And we go over, and the over under is 10.5. That's how bad the pitching is. We've had over-unders of 10.5, 9.5, 9.5, 12, okay, in Colorado, 10 in Atlanta, 10 in St. Louis, 9.5 in Baltimore, 9.5 at the Mets, 9.5 Kansas City, 9.5 the White Sox, 9 in Pitt, and that's how bad the Tigers are. They're 8.5. So you can see how bad the pitching is, because the hitting sucks, but the pitching's even worse. There's so many guys with 6, 7, 8, 9 ERAs. What the fuck? So we want to have 5-man staffs go every 5th day, and then 10 guys in the bullpen who none of them can pitch. And of the starters, there's 3 or 4 that are any good: Scherzer, Verlander, McClanahan. And the rest suck. You can't find too many with under 3.5 ERAs, and yet they all get hurt. How are you getting hurt? You're pitching every 5th day, and you won't go more than 100 pitches. So one excuse I heard is, well, all the kids growing up play travel ball, and they just try to throw the ball hard. They learn how to throw 95 mile an hours because that's all that's important. They don't know how to pitch. And they fuck their arms up because they're throwing as hard as they can until the shoulder breaks. And I got to sit there. I'm a dad, although I got girls and they play fast pitch. But my kid ain't doing that. I pitched when I was younger. I played second and short and pitcher. But when I pitched, I don't even think I threw the ball 60 miles an hour. No, that was until I was 14, I think. But I didn't. I would throw it hard, but it wouldn't go 90 miles an hour. And that's as far as I wanted. I didn't want to throw with everything I got, and then who knows if I hit the batter, the umpire, the crowd. I couldn't control it if I could throw that fast. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but whatever they're doing it wrong. This travel ball's a joke. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's baseball. So our one lock is going to be Minnesota over Kansas City. Lock. Minnie's a 190 favorite. Who gives a fuck? If we win, we win. Now we got a 276 pitcher against a 619. Jordan Lyles, we bet against every time. He's won once. So let's keep going with betting against Jordan Lyles. Minnesota 54-51. Kansas City 30-75. So but you can't look at the record in baseball. You can't say, oh, Kansas City's going to lose every game. You can't do that. Now you could just bet against them every game, and you'd have lost 30 times. You'd have won 75. But with the money line, are you even ahead? Because like here, it's minus 190 with Minnesota. So if I take Minnesota, it's 190. Well, if it's one of the 30 I lose $190. I didn't win my 100, and I just keep going like that. So I don't know how much you're really up in that, but to me, you bet the pitchers at the appropriate time. All right. So that's baseball. And again, it's very weak. In every sport, we want to bet defense. Defense can stop. A pitcher can stop good hitters. I saw 64, 65 World Series game. It was Mantle against Koufax. Mantle didn't have a chance. He struck him like a fastball, curveball, fastball. Mantle didn't even come close to hitting it. That was 1965, not 1955, when Mantle would have killed Koufax, because Koufax didn't really get it. Now, he's an example of a guy who threw really hard and hurt his arm because he threw too hard. He had a beautiful curveball to go with the fastball. So anytime he threw the curveball, if you threw it over, you couldn't hit it because you're waiting on his 95-mile-an-hour fastball. But defense beats Georgia. They beat Alabama with all that offense. They beat Michigan with all their offense. They beat Ohio State. Somehow C.J. Stroud ran around, gets them the third pick in the draft. But now we'll see. Good luck at Houston, fella. I like Stenson Bennett at the Rams much better. I don't remember where Thompson Robinson went, and then Hayner's at New Orleans. Again, look for Denver. Sean Payton yelled about how bad the coach was. So now he's the offensive coordinator in Green Bay, but he's with really Rodgers is the offensive coordinator, but they're going to use Hackett's offense. So that makes Rodgers feel good. I remember when Brett Favre went to the Jets, the offense sucked because they don't know what they're doing with offenses there. Since Namath, they haven't really had a good offense. And so here you've got the Packer offense with the Niner defense going. And I still, Buffalo, yeah. How's Von Miller doing? Is he even going to play? So keep that in mind. As we get closer, we're keeping an eye on the injuries. Joe Burrow will be fine. Ramsey went to Miami, the cornerback, and he's out. He had ACL surgery. He's out for the year. So keep that in mind. Tagovailoa, I'll give him 4 games before he gets a concussion, and this time it ends his career. So I hope you haven't bought Tagovailoa cards. I've been against him the whole time. He's not that talented. It's the system at Alabama. Look at Mac Jones. He's struggling. Jalen Hurts can't hit the side of a barn. They had to get him Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and he still, doesn't do much. They want to run him. So, again, he thinks he's at Oklahoma running the ball. Again, you want to run your quarterback. You're playing chess without your rooks and bishops. Do you really want to play chess without that, without your rooks and bishops? That's what you're doing. So I'm not I think the Niners, if Purdy can stay healthy, I think they get him this year. But I think it'll be a great under because if all the Georgia guys on Philly play like they do, now you got 6 Georgia guys. You got the whole fucking Georgia defense at Philadelphia. I don't think they're going to let up 10 points a game. I think that's a joke. Who they got the first week? They got It's a good. They got New England. New England's not going to score in that game. New England's going to get their, maybe a field goal. Mac Jones ain't going to have a chance. He knows the Georgia guys. He didn't do shit against them, so they know him from Alabama. And good luck. He's got no chance. But anyway, Philly will be our under with the Niners, and Brock Purdy should play, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, look for Denver and the Jets in the playoffs. Kansas City, they'll be there with Mahomes because he's so talented, but they will drop a little because they won the Super Bowl. They're relaxing this year. And then there'll be a point where they wake up and they get mad, and they'll be too far to catch Denver. But I don't know how anybody can take San Diego over Denver in that division when San Diego, their coach sucks. They got Herbert, but they had Herbert last year. They lost to fucking Jacksonville with a 27-0 halftime lead, and you got the same coach. I don't trust that guy. I do trust Sean Payton, who won a Super Bowl and got to a few other big games. Him I trust. So the coach edge goes to Sean Payton over the guy on San Diego. Russell Wilson's just as good as Herbert. They're both very good. A little bit better running on Eckert, again, I don't know. Melvin Gordon's not on the team anymore. Whoever they have. Defense clearly goes to Denver. And like I said, the coach. So as long as you got the defense, quarterback's a wash, and the coach, Denver's the better team. So they gave KC all they wanted, and they definitely will give San Diego all they want when they play. So keep an eye on that. But that's what you got. All right. Time for Andrew McGuire. And I don't remember where I want to stop it, but it was a pretty good interview.
Under $2,000 is unsustainable. They now have to keep printing or we crash.
We've got this ticking time bomb.
Talking gold with the one and only this year here. So let's maybe start off the show by talking about this ongoing battle. Yeah, Shane, great to be with you again. Nice to see you back in the office rather than in some beach somewhere. But anyway, glad you're back. Let's start by updating the third and the fourth quarter setup, which is what most people want to know. Yeah, we've been through the first 6 months. And obviously not just for gold, but for joined at the hip silver. And what we're trying to do here is really to provide information that's not generally available. Really, and the purpose really is so you can to assist yourselves and others in making comprehensive assessments, more comprehensive assessments. There's so much of a single narrative out there on so many things. Now, the culmination of the third and fourth quarter 2023 action is very much driven by a bullish physical gold versus this depleting paper gold framework, which since, as you say, Basel III NSFR standards were implemented at the open of 2023 trading, what it's done is forced global liquidity providers, and we're talking about the first tier market makers here, to one-to-one back foreign exchange over-the-counter gold with physical bullion. If you remember, foreign exchange, gold is a foreign exchange cross, much like the dollar is to the euro, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously, they didn't used to have to back it. Now they do. So in other words, and the reason this was a game changer for the first time following over 50 years since Nixon had ended the ability to exchange dollars for gold bullion, when Basel III reclassified this foreign exchange gold as a first-tier asset class on the 1st of January, what it did was force the banks making markets in the multi-trillion dollar, this is talking about a multi-trillion dollar marketplace, foreign exchange gold marketplace that is, to be actually one-to-one physically backed with bullion, which they never were. However, as we've drawn attention to, as a direct result of the Fed-driven war against gold following the weaponizing of the US dollar against Russia, and in turn, Russia weaponizing gold back in March 2022 against the dollar, the Fed-infested paper-settled COMEX markets have still not complied with Basel III NSFR conditions, but what we're drawing attention to is that this disconnect between physically deliverable global foreign exchange gold has opened up a huge opportunity for all of us to capitalize on this fast closing window. Now, it's not fully realized by the majority of blinkered US traders because they're siloed inside the COMEX marketplace, banned from trading the deliverable 10 times larger foreign exchange gold markets, which are, as I say, are deliverable, that central banks and sovereign buyers are quietly capitalizing on this opportunity to exchange their rapidly depreciating dollars for bullion. And it's not easily apparent because physical buying is unleveraged and flies under the smoke and mirrors world of the massively leveraged derivative markets centered in the US. And we call this.
So what he means is, when I bought a half ounce yesterday. So when I buy my half ounce, nobody knows I bought it. The guy has it at the store, I buy it. So it's underneath the radar, but the demand is huge. So that's what he means by, the silos. The silo is the guy's just, if the dollar goes up, he shorts gold. And then if the dollar goes down, he buys gold. He doesn't see the inflation aspect of owning gold because you're printing money and it's worthless. So I'm telling you the reality of the Titanic is hit by the iceberg, and this is the Titanic, and it goes down. So I'm explaining the reason why you want to buy gold. The guys in the silos and the blinkers and all whatever the bullshit he's saying, it's not bullshit, but the way he says it is they're not understanding the dollar dropping. Otherwise, they would just be buying tons of gold. And that's what he's saying. So he gets a little confusing with his terminology, but we know a little bit more.
The COMEX tail wagging the physical market dog. We've talked about that multiple times. But the hidden opportunity lays in that this ever-widening paper market disconnect is reaching an inflection point that is evidencing the physical bullion markets irreversibly absorbing the remnants of this over 50 years of paper market generated liquidity. Now, while this divergent process has been muted by the Fed and its agent banks continuing to sell large swathes of leveraged derivative gold to prop up the competing US dollar treasuries and the weaponized dollar against foreign exchange gold, this tail wagging the dog activity has 100% been generated inside this siloed COMEX futures exchange, which is now the only remaining global trading venue that is non-Basel III compliant. And due to its cash-settled nature, COMEX derivative gold, whether you're long or short positions, are still able to be fractionally backed by gold, meaning global NSFR standards have not yet been implemented. It's important to understand that. But the timeline to compliance is closing fast. In fact, while we anticipate the same sort of attempted blocking action, as was evidenced, which if you remember when they tried to implement Basel III legislation back in 2021, 2022, the LBMA, CME cartel, they came out, tried to block it multiple times, so the Bank of England failed. They absolutely failed. Now, interestingly, tomorrow, there's a Fed, and we're recording this on Wednesday, there's an upcoming Fed open meeting to discuss the final implementation of the Basel III international regulatory framework for US banks. That will also impact the large whale US-centric COMEX banks acting as market makers in gold futures. Now, so just bear in mind, we're recording this on Wednesday, and this is happening tomorrow on Thursday. So the Basel III proposal will ultimately bring the United States into compliance with Basel III risk capital requirements for all banks with over 100 billion or more of total assets. Well, that of course includes the Fed agent banks, which we call the cartel. And it means implementing a standardized approach to calculating credit, trading, and operational risk. And this will
halt the ability of banks to craft their own models. And as far as gold is concerned, bringing the US into compliance with interchangeable spot gold NSFR compliant conditions, it will limit the amount of COMEX leverage able to be employed inside this siloed COMEX paper settled exchange, which will assist in removing one of the last levers employed to artificially suppress gold versus the dollar. What it means is that the already Basel III compliant over-the-counter market longs, i.e. specifically the bullion that hedges the leveraged COMEX shorts, because that is the relationship generally, what it'll do is it'll limit the unlimited leverage to just what can be one-to-one squared against the COMEX speculators still trapped inside the COMEX, but not beyond that. And as the largest published above-ground store of bullion is tracked in the GLD ETF, we've talked about that, it's the only visible tracked store of bullion, and it's as represented by the GLD ETF, which we know is illusionary, and that the COMEX positions can still be squared one-to-one against this ETF, which never needed to be backed fully. It's going to limit COMEX leverage, and it will also impact the ability to naked short this GLD ETF. There are a lot of ramifications to the US becoming Basel III compliant.
So what happens, right? We all get frustrated. Why isn't gold going up? Why isn't silver going up? Why is silver 25 an ounce? Because of the derivatives that JP Morgan would print and sell 5 million ounces of silver that they don't have to somebody on the other end who's not collecting it. What the fuck's going on? How do you sell silver you don't have or gold you don't have with these derivative contracts? So what he just said in English, they can't do it anymore. They can only sell what they have. So if there's only 50,000 ounces, that's all they can sell. And somebody has to take delivery with Basel III. That's what that means. It means if you want to sell it and somebody buys it, they get the gold. So now you can't sell 5 million ounces of gold if you don't have it, just to lower the price. So everybody's getting a little bit pissed off, going, well, no, this game's over now. So when I read the other article and they said, well, silver, it's got to go up 100% to get to 50, the 25 isn't right. That's what my argument in play is. The 25 is fantasy in silver. It's not the real price. It's the COMEX derivative price of JP Morgan keeping the price under market. So there's no supply demand. There's demand that says you sell this for $60 and people will buy it. That's supply demand. That's the real, not a derivative price. Well, you can buy it for $5. I'm going to sell 1 million bottles of this. I don't have any, and when you buy it, you're not going to get any, but I'm going to sell it at $2 a piece. Well, that's not the market. That's what gold is. There's no market in it. It's not supply and demand as people think. Oh, supply and demand. No, it isn't. It's some idiot for JP Morgan selling derivatives to keep the price down because JP Morgan does not want competition for this with gold, and therefore if we keep the price of gold down, people will stay in the dollar and buy stocks. So Wall Street can price fix everybody and fuck everybody over. And Madoff can fuck everybody. And Enron can fuck everybody. And Attack on Wall Street and Margin Call and The Big Short. All these guys can fuck everybody over because you don't even think about going into gold. You got dollars and you're investing in dollars. It's smart that you want to use your money to make money. However, if you don't know what you're doing, you can't do it. You can't play stocks if you don't know it. You can't play craps if you don't know it. You can't play poker if you don't understand it. You can't go out with girls if you don't understand what you're trying to do. You can't do it. So you must understand the game. You can't play chess if you don't understand the game. So you're in a situation that you don't understand. So you shouldn't do it. Gold takes all that out of it. You don't need to understand anything. All you do is you take $50,000 or $20,000 and you buy gold. Yesterday, cost me $1,000 to buy a half ounce of gold. I don't need to know anything about it. All I need to know is my gold's going to go up a lot because they're ending this whole JP Morgan derivative price fixing called COMEX. They're ending it. It's getting ended by the Russians and the Chinese. That's all I need to know. And the prices are going to go up. So I don't need to know anything else. Just make sure I get quality gold done by a government. So I got the Philharmonics from Austria, or I buy the Eagles from the US, or I buy the Canadian Maple Leaf. Not a problem that it's real gold. So that's your only thing, is make sure you buy real. So you buy the government gold. It costs a little bit more, but I know I got the Maple Leaf. It says 1 ounce of gold. I got a half ounce yesterday of Austria. I know what I got. And that's my point. If I'm playing craps, I got to understand if I play the pass line, the 7 kills me. If I play blackjack, I got to understand if I go out first, even though we both go out, we both go over 21. If I go out first, I lose. So that might tempt me to not hit, but then the dealer turns over his 20 and you're like, oh, fuck, I lost. I should have taken a card. But if you take the card and you go over, you lose automatically. So that's why you play against the dealer's cards. If the dealer's got a 6 up, you assume 16. You got 13, you don't take the hit, because if you go over, you lose. You let him go over. Now, if he flips over a 5, you're fucked. If he throws over a 10, you have a good chance of winning. And it's got to understand. But it's a screwed up game anyway, because if we both go over, why did I lose? That's like a football game ending, it's a hard correlation, but it's sort of like a chess game where, no, I guess you captured my king first. I wouldn't be able to capture your king. But it's a game where you both lose, but yet since you lost first, I win. The house wins. It's all fucked up. But you shouldn't play it. You shouldn't play stocks if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know why you're doing it. So if you've got to, the first thing is you've got to understand that this is printed. This is not real. This is paper. This is worthless. That's the first thing you must understand. This has no value. Yes, I can go to the grocery store and buy tuna fish with it. I can go to the Morton's and get a steak with it, because they have to take it. So that's the value it has. But in reality, it doesn't have any value. So gold, I can walk in now getting people to accept it, but very soon everybody will accept gold. Now, there'll still be dollars that'll be by the government saying you must accept. That'll still be out there, but gold's an asset. It will never lose its value. It's never lost its value in 5,000 years, and every fiat currency has gone out, all 5,000 of them. Look at Rome, for an example. They had gold. They had silver coins. They debased them. They took the gold and silver out of the coins. And where did they go? Oops, they went out. France, England had gold. Oops, had a war. Oops, no more gold. Oops, they went out. We had gold. I don't even know. Now we don't have any gold. Oops, we're out. That means China and Russia are next in line, and they're doing the whole BRICS thing. All right, let's see. Next. Yeah, the central banks are buying.
Would be tabled. Our Russian contacts continue to reaffirm that the very well developed structure of the proposed gold-backed commodity currency is most definitely front and center of the upcoming summit. And of course it will be. What Reuters fails to focus on is the plus 40 nations that have expressed an interest in joining the BRICS Plus trading bloc.
So, are they really going to do gold-backed currency is your question. Then gold and silver go through the roof, and silver goes way past $50 an ounce. These idiots don't have a fucking clue. Again, why are they writing this? They're trying to keep you off of buying gold and silver. They want you buying stocks and bonds because they get commission. They don't want you in assets that don't give you a commission. So they're going to say silver. No, it'll never go to 50. Come on. It's never been there. Yeah, it's been price fixed for 50 years. They've been keeping it low on purpose. Let the market run. And that's what, but then I don't get commission on it. Well, I don't understand why there's no commission in gold and silver. Anyway, but there's no commission. There's only commission on this. Stocks, bonds, houses, there's commission on, real estate. But when I go buy my gold at the store yesterday, half ounce, I paid $1,022 for. The guy gets a premium, the owner, the salesman, he doesn't get a commission on it. So let's say he bought it from the guy from $975 and he sold it to me for $1,022. He makes $50. The owner. It's not a commission, it's the premium because he buys it at spot. He fucks the guy who sold it to him, and then he sells it to me at this premium induced price. I, in turn, am happily paying the premium induced price because I realize you just sold me a $25,000 half ounce of gold for $1,000. I'll pay the extra $30 or $40 in the premium because I'm buying something that is worth so much more than what you're selling it, because you don't understand what you have, and I do, and I understand the BRICS, and I understand getting rid of COMEX and how it's price fixed. I understand when it gets to the real supply demand, because that's all we talk about here. I know it's going to be 50 times more, 100 times more. You won't see 2,000 again. You won't see 25 again. Now, the guy did have bullion he did have the Buffaloes back. I was tempted to buy it, but since he had the half ounce Philharmonic, I couldn't resist. And it was only $1,022. I go on eBay, it's $1,100. So I'm like, okay, I already made money on it. I think he gave me a deal because he said it's just half of the ounce. It's never half of the ounce. That's why it's hard to buy quarter ounces and half ounces, because when you add them up to, so if you buy 2 half ounces, let's say it's $2,000 to buy an ounce. The half ounces are like $1,100, so it's really $2,200 to buy 2 half ounces versus the ounce. So the theory is, well, wait and buy the ounce because it's 2,000, and the 2 half ounces will be 2,200. Here, I got the half ounce at half of the ounce, and I think he did that as a favor because I'm always in there educating, and I'm buying a lot of gold and silver from him, and he knows me, and we talk, and so I think he just we'll just take half of it. He knew he paid spot, so he paid probably $950 for it, and he's getting $1,022, so he's making money. So he's happy. But anyway, so that's what's happening here. So what he's saying is definitely talking to his Russian contacts. They'll still, because will they drop the gold-backed currency and everything else? Pressure from the U.S. We don't want the competition. We want U.S. dollars. And then what he's saying is, well, yeah, according to my Russian contacts, they're still going to talk about it, which is going to make the gold and silver price go through the roof. And he said, and the one thing they're not talking is the 40 countries who also want the gold-backed currency. So now it's not the U.S. against Gaddafi or the U.S. against Saddam Hussein. It's the U.S. against Russia, Putin, Xi, and 40 other countries. And look out. So they're going to have to go to war with the whole world. So the U.S. won't do it. And the U.S. is running out of money anyway. We're broke. We're in debt $35 trillion. Hello? Does anybody understand that? Put that on your balance sheet or put that in your household budget. So imagine you owe $1 billion to Visa. Yeah, good luck. You'll last a long time. I mean, how do you go to work? I mean, I owe $1 billion to Visa. You're fucked. The U.S. is fucked. We owe $35 trillion in debt, and our money's worthless. And we owe Social Security and welfare and Medicare. How do we pay that? We don't have money to pay it. Well, we'll print more money. And we'll pay. Oh, we're doing it electrically. So every second Monday of the month, I get money into my account. Well, it's not really money. Yeah, it is real money. Just the fact that you did it electronically versus sending me this doesn't make it not money. All right, so back to...
And that the unipolar weaponized US dollar is one way or the other going to be circumvented by this massive multipolar trading bloc. That is the glue that will bind this trading bloc together. In order to replace the dollar, and with no single currency, that could be the yuan, the ruble, liquid enough to replace trillions of dollars of the energy and commodity trade between these nations, there is only one solution: a gold-backed commodity currency. And if it's not 100% backed with gold, it will be partly backed by gold. Really interestingly, we see Kennedy a couple of days ago come out and talk about backing the US dollar with metals, even if it's a small amount. Well, unfortunately, that killed his uncle, Robert Kennedy, all those years ago, was doing exactly that. But it's interesting because...
See, I didn't know that's why they killed Kennedy. I didn't know why they killed him, but I didn't know it's because he wanted to come out with a gold-backed dollar. And here comes Nixon. What does he do? He takes us off gold, and we're fucked from that point on. So in the future, and tell your kids, if you ever have people that take you off a gold standard and just print the dollars, to run and buy as much gold and silver as you can, because it won't last. Now, they keep printing it. How it's lasted 50 years. That's why it died in 2008, and then they kept printing it until now they can't print it anymore. And the rest of the world said enough is enough. Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, and all these other BRICS countries have said that's enough. We're tired of the US dollar. You just did sanctions against Russia. China's worried they're going to do sanctions against them and all the other countries. OPEC's pissed that we're getting away from oil. So Saudi Arabia is sitting on all this oil that's worthless because the U.S. doesn't want to buy it. And fuck you. They're selling it to China, So we pissed everybody off. The way it looks to me is we did it on purpose. I don't know why you would do that. If you're the best country or the best team, why would you fucking destroy your own team? That's what Biden's doing. It's because he's getting bribed by the Chinese, the $40 million he got, to do what they want. So this is the point, is when you have a president in there that's incoherent, taking bribes, so he's not up and up, he shouldn't be president. But because the Chinese want him in, that's why he won the election. George Soros is behind this. And he wants the U.S. ruined because they beat Germany in the war, and he's getting revenge for Germany losing because he's a Nazi. So he's mad. So he's getting this is all about him getting his revenge on us for beating the Germans. He walked away with all the German gold. Hitler had a lot of German gold. All World War II was gold. It was Hitler going into these countries, stealing their gold, except for France. He went to the Louvre and stole all the paintings. That's what World War II was. Hitler going in and stealing the gold. So he, of course, wanted to get to New York and steal our gold or Fort Knox, which he would have done. He had submarines outside of New York ready to invade. But he had trouble with Russia. He thought that his miscalculation was he thought Russia couldn't fight, and he thought the U.S. said, oh, you just had Pearl Harbor. You guys are a bunch of idiots. You can't defend yourself. We'll walk in. He didn't even think there'd be an army. He said, well, we'll just walk into New York and steal the gold and go to Kentucky and steal the gold, and that'll be the end of it. And we'll have a bunch of farmland all over. Because the U.S. did Pearl Harbor on purpose to get into the war, because you kind of have to have your public back you and go, okay, we're mad now. Okay, you invaded Pearl Harbor. Now let's attack back. That's why they let Pearl Harbor happen. They knew it was happening. It wasn't a surprise. They knew it and they let it happen. It's fucking. We're so fucked up here. Anyway, so let's go.
Up to the fact, hold on, something has to be done. And this is why every single member and the new applicant seeking to join this trading bloc has been buying physical gold openly And as far as monetary gold is concerned, it's just off-grid. Once this currency structure is formalized, the US-centric derivative gold market will be forced to fold. It is that simple. It has to. I'm not saying it'll happen overnight, but it has to. Also, there's no coincidence that the UAE and India, you'll like this, Shane, their economic partnership agreement just came into force, but details are just spilling out. The partnership moves to reduce silver import and taxes to zero by 2032. So immediately we have a 15% premium that will reduce to 9%, then gradually to zero. This will trigger very, very large Indian silver demand. Monetary gold duty rate will also reduce to 1%, which is going to severely cut smuggling, the need to smuggle. Now, with all of these partnerships being cemented, we once more need to underscore that the Bank of International Settlements, along with every other Western central bank and every single first and second tier bank, except the wrong-footed Fed, are long physical gold, anticipating much higher prices into a multipolar pricing environment. Also, ultimately providing these forward-looking central banks the option of revaluing gold held in their underpriced gold revaluation accounts. We've been into some granular detail on how that works in prior episodes. It's a simple process, and it can be effected simply by selling their underpriced gold reserves and rebuying them at market simultaneously. And with US Treasuries and currently valued at $42 an ounce, revaluing gold at say $2,000 would reinvigorate a rapidly depreciating unbacked dollar. Doing so would hide the rehypothecated nature, the double ownership nature of these 8,133 tons of Treasury gold. So, of course, the upcoming played down BRICS summit reveals a front and center attack on the US dollar, which is clearly what this is. So watch out for a lot of upcoming distractions. We're going to see saber rattling, war escalations potentially in Ukraine and Poland, an uptick perhaps in Taiwan rhetoric, trade war escalations with China, a possible false flag attack. I mean, nothing would surprise us, all of which, very short term, may draw Western markets safe haven demand into treasuries, evidencing the Western markets initially racing into safe haven dollars. But the serious escalations will concurrently also drive physical gold demand. It's not the game that it used to be. And with the US dollar and treasuries, they're going to ultimately give their games up when things settle down. But any additional gold demand will not be undone, and it will assist in depleting supply being offered at current levels. That's a fact.
That's amazing. Now, Andrew, just before we start,
It's fact. So gold's going to go way up. That's why I just, you don't know how much you need. You don't know how much is in. I got almost 600 ounces of silver, and at first I wasn't going to buy any, and then I had 37 Highland Mint ones. When I used to collect my baseball cards in the 90s, Highland Mint came out with coins that were 1 ounce silver. And I know silver. I said, well, okay, I'll buy. And I bought like 37 of them. Mantle and Jeter and Barry Sanders and that. And they're worth about $80, $90 a coin, not the $35 a coin. But now that this is happening, you're going to see it go way up with this whole BRICS thing, forcing it. COMEX, as he's saying, it's a fact. COMEX is going to get blown up, and the demand for gold and silver is going to make it up. So as we get into that, people who are ignorant are going to run back to the Titanic. So you're in the boat, and the Titanic is sinking, and then the captain said, wait, no, it stopped sinking. Miraculously, the water is not going into the boat anymore. And you go back into the boat, into the Titanic, and you go back inside. as the water's coming in. That's what they're doing. So if you go back into the stock market, you go back into the dollar, and you go back into the bonds, you're in the fucking Titanic and it's full of water, and you go back into the boat. That's about the best way I can explain it. You're going to go back into the boat, into the Titanic. You're in the lifeboat. Now you're going back into the thing. Or you could go to the gold boat where you cannot sink and you'll be safe and you're going to make a fortune. Well, I'm going to go back into the Titanic. I mean, that's how stupid people are, but they don't know. Most people don't have a clue. The other people are working on commissions, so they are clueless. They're clueless to gold, that in the sense you cannot lose with gold. So let's imagine we bet a football game, Kansas City, Detroit, week 1, and we realize we can't lose with Kansas City. Mahomes and Kelsey, and Detroit's defense sucks, and golf sucks, coach is terrible. We realize we can't lose with Kansas City. So we bet on, so why would you bet the Lions? Well, somebody, okay, you get points, so that kind of makes it, but we can tease it to even. We can't lose. Kansas City can't lose the games. So why would we bet on the Lions? Why would we take the Lions in 6.5 when we got Kansas City even? And we can't lose. That's what gold is. Gold, you can't lose. It can't go to zero. There's too much demand. That's how I started the class, right? The market. Is there a market in this? Is there a market in this? Is there markets in this? Yes. Therefore, they can't go to zero. Is there a market in the electric vehicles? No market. So guess what happens to Tesla stock, Ford stock, GM stock? They all go to zero. And nobody buys them because nobody wants. There's no market for electric vehicles. So if you're in Tesla stock, you get the fuck out of it. You don't stay in it. It ain't going anywhere, because there's no demand for electric vehicles, and it's not like it's going to start now in the middle of high inflation and high interest rates. Who the fuck is running to buy a car and pay $900 to $1,000 a month for it? Right? Who can afford $1,000 a month for a car? I did the 470, and I paid about $700-800 a month to get it over with. But even then, I had to go out 6 years, because I think the 3 or 4 year was like $700. And I said, fuck that. I don't want it. I want it like $400, but then I will pay $700-800 because I started working. So that's the difference. But with high interest rates, who's running to buy a car now? You got to be out of your mind to buy a car. What are you, crazy? So you got high interest rates which aren't going down because of inflation, because of you printed too much money. I love how they won't say inflation. They'll say the purchasing power of the dollar's down. And then they'll say kind of inflation is prices. No, inflation's the purchasing power, and prices is prices. Prices is the market. And if the market don't want electric vehicles, the price goes down. It's not inflation. It's not inflation going down because the prices are going down. That's not what does it. Anyway, so if you are smart and you're getting taught by the professor here, you will not run into bonds. You will not run into stocks because of these wars. You run into gold and silver. And I don't want to hear the excuse, I can't afford it. You can afford $27 an ounce silver. You can afford 540 ounces for a quarter ounce of gold, or $1,000 for the ounce of silver, half ounce of gold that I got yesterday. I don't want to hear you can't afford. You can. You might have to make sacrifices, like you don't go on a trip. But guess what? When gold goes through the roof, you'll buy the fucking island. You won't have to worry about a trip. So you just time it where I buy the gold now, and Carmen keeps asking me, let's go on a trip, or Jenna. And I'm like, I'm buying gold right now. Once gold goes, then we can go on a trip. Then I won't care. I had a conversation with the girl in Vegas. So I'm working from home, and I want to go work in Vegas and then go to the casinos at night and have the weekends off, because I don't work weekends, obviously. This is my weekend job. Well, football. And I call up. Now, when I came back from Alabama, I didn't have a place, and I was staying at the Comfort Inn, and it was about $90 a night. And the guy says to me, well, if you want it for the month, it's $69. We give a monthly rate, monthly discount, because we know we got you for the full month. And this is Detroit, so, who's coming here? So it was $69 a month instead of the 90 or 100 a month. 169 a day. So I call up the Tuscany because I know I'm not going to stay at Caesars. I mean, just the resort fee itself is going to be $70, $80. So I don't want to stay on Strip. I want to get off Strip, and then Tuscany is like a 10-minute walk to Caesars, and then you're at Bellagio and Caesars and the Venetian, the whole 9 yards. So it's a very quick walk, and then you go play poker. You watch the football. So at the Tuscany, I'm asking, and it's like very busy, and it's like $150 a night. It used to be $40, $50 because it's off Strip. It's suites, but it's a nice hotel, but not Caesars or Bellagio. And I says, don't you have a monthly rate? She says, no, we don't. She says, we're pretty crowded. That's your inflation. Then it hit me. That's the inflation. The Vegas hotels are very expensive. That's because they're all on loans, right? They don't have the money to build the hotel, so they all have notes. And obviously the notes went up to 4 or 5%, following what the Fed's doing, following the interest rates on the cars and houses. So they have to charge more for you to go and stay there. So I'm like, well, fuck Vegas. I was going to stay a month. It's going to cost me at least $3,000. Plus I got rent here, right? So it's going to cost me $3,000 to stay there a month and work. And then when I'm done with work, go to the casinos. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. So now I might go for a week, like Sunday night and come back Thursday night or Friday night. Something like that I might do. But that kind of defeats the whole purpose, because the whole point was I can work from there, because I'm still going to work there. It's not going to be a vacation. I'm going to work for my 40 hours, and then after work, go enjoy the casinos and poker and football. And so that's what I was planning. But if I'm going to come home on the weekend, that's the whole point, was to enjoy the weekend there. So I don't know. I'm going to try to check apartments there. You got to get a furnished one for the month. To me, it should be about $1,400, $1,500. I mean, that's what I pay here, and it's not furnished, but that's a 1-year lease. I don't know. Maybe it's $2,000, which is okay depending on where it is. And then I got to figure if I want to drive or fly, because if I drive, I have my car. If I fly, then I got to get a rental car, and I don't know how expensive rental cars are. All fucked up now. So I don't know. It's a good idea, but I don't know if I can pull it off. Anyway, that's what that's where I'm really starting to understand the inflation. Try to get a hotel room in Vegas, and it's very expensive. Plus the resort fee. What a bunch of crap that is. That's so they don't have to pay Priceline and bookings, the commission. So it's a $50 room. There's really a $100 room, but if they say $100, they got to pay Priceline 20% of that. But if they say it's $50, they pay Priceline 20% of that. Then they charge you this resort fee, which is just another price of it's a tax for you staying there. So it's really, and it's only in Vegas. I haven't really seen it anywhere else. What a bunch of bullshit, right? That's your inflation. The prices are going up because of the inflation, because they all have notes on their hotels, all the construction and everything else. So they probably are paying now 5% on $50 million or $1 billion to make the win or whatever. And now, so all their rates went up. So they got to now charge you more. And the question is, can the market bear it? Will they be able to get enough people? Now they get all the LA people on the weekends, but during the week, they're probably still shit. So I don't know. But I know a lot of people from LA are moving out of LA, and they're moving to Vegas and moving to Arizona, moving to Texas. So I don't know. It seems like a lot. Maybe I can try Reno and see if I can get a rate there. But it just seems like I remember paying $20 for a hotel room and $5 steaks back in the early 80s to go to Vegas. And the buffets were $20 for real good buffets. Now it's a joke. I mean, they're outpricing them. I don't know who goes there. Who can afford it? I make good money. I don't want to waste my money. So I don't know if the kids go and they put it on their credit cards and they have their debt and say, well, so my debt's $1 billion. Who cares? All right, let's go back to Andre McGoy.
Here, you were saying something about that you're seeing something immediate. Can you share with our viewers what that is?
Yes, Shane. Glad to. More immediately and directly related. Following high-level meetings last week with a major refinery alongside first and second-tier liquidity providers, the Bank of International Settlements also reached out, really seeking now to gather information on how gold-backed stablecoins and as such our decentralized Kinesis gold-backed currency might fare into a buoyant physical market. Clearly, they're looking at all options. But what these comprehensive discussions reveal is that a much stronger, unprecedented central bank and institutional uptake of physical gold on a global level is underway. Now, these meetings also reaffirm our assessment from long ago that from last November, that the Bank of International Settlements is long gold for their own book, which, considering they act on behalf of other central banks, indicates every central bank except the Fed, that's Europe through Asia, Africa, Russia, China, right across, are now hedging the recently weaponized dollar and the perceived high counterparty risk treasuries with physical gold. Now, this is massive. It's just not being discussed by the mainstream media. In fact, it's being deliberately ignored. And as we've been drawing attention to, this leaves the Fed as the sole outlier, the only central bank still capping bellwether gold as it competes against freshly printed Fed-controlled dollar and treasury supply. However, net of what we see flowing out through this EFP backdoor, official gold capping efforts seeking to bolster this illusionary demand for the dollar and US treasuries are increasingly constrained to how much inversely sold paper gold can be contained inside this siloed cash-settled COMEX exchange. And given the ballooning level of US and related debt is ultimately telegraphing a future US Treasury default, we are witnessing a major move by central banks and sovereigns into the only first-tier liquid asset class that has zero counterparty risk. Clearly, physical gold and related silver. They are liquid enough to control this. Now, over-the-counter gold alone is a $13 to $15 trillion a year market, but add in derivatives and it is into the 70 trillion mark. So, and then that's not even accounting for all of the relationship with the quadrillions of derivatives. Now, the Fed is now recognized as the only buyer of treasuries in any size. And given first-tier physical gold directly competes with US Treasury demand, this ill-conceived paper gold battle continues, but it's running against an increasingly divergent, very strong global demand physical gold marketplace.
Hey, Andrew, that's quite astonishing. And most investors wouldn't think of U.S. Treasuries as even having a remote chance of defaulting. Should this give people pause or thought when weighing up gold as a competing first-tier asset class here?
Recently, for no reason at all, I asked some
shut the fuck up.
If big wireless companies are allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, Shane, especially as we're weighing up gold as a competing first-tier asset class. I mean, the Fed is fully exposed to plus 50 years of accrued, rehypothecated double ownership, triple ownership, quadruple ownership, who knows, it's not audited, undeliverable derivative gold bets, which have been caught extremely wrong-footed, unable to exit thousands of tons of underwater derivative gold exposure. So clearly, this massive miscalculation has created a huge opportunity window for us and central banks to secure cheap bullion before the Fed is forced to fold its hand. This looks to be on the front burner. So let's see what tomorrow's Fed meeting will reveal, the one that we're talking about, bringing Basel III standards into the US. And you'll obviously, when this is published on Friday, you're going to know what that was. But to circle back to your original question, Shane, what we're currently witnessing as we progress deeper into the third and fourth quarter is an accelerated divergence between Fed price paper gold as determined inside this siloed COMEX cash-settled exchange versus the real, very strong demand physical market. Hence, the very short-term counterintuitive capping that we have been witnessing, while conversely, these paper-centric automated siloed gold and silver capping algorithms are actually being fished by some very smart money for conversions to physical. So very short term, this brings us to the current. Now, if you remember, we looked at the trade at settlement lever, this disruptive lever, which escapes a lot of, it really escapes what the regulators see all the time. So now, whereas the volumes are once again, these volumes have been rising to severely imbalanced levels. And we've spent the time in previous episodes really dissecting the derivative game. But to sum up what we see now, while on the face of it, these plain vanilla $38 contango capture, that's what it is. So basically the difference in carry costs for the December contract being sold versus the August contract being bought. So basically you're then capturing that by the time it goes to expiry. Now, look, this is legal and legitimate neutral stance strategy where an equal volume of August longs are balanced with an equal number of December shorts. But it's not the on-ramp that's the issue, where both trades are executed at exactly the same time. Actually, there is some leakage, but we can talk about that another time. But it's the off-ramps which allow these agent swap dealers, the cartel, to rig downside air pockets by illegally exceeding intraday position limits, something their footprints revealed last Monday and Friday and every day this week as we approach options expiry. Actually, we're now evidencing a phase of off-ramp August longs being closed before the December shorts are covered, hence the magical containment into the options sweet spot today, the derivative sweet spot, where bets are marked to market. But interestingly, reflecting less resistance into the end of the year. So we're seeing further out, these bets are actually, we're seeing some plain vanilla December longs being added by insiders. So we see this structure changing. And while we're going to continue to see some disruptive squaring, you watch of these August to December trade at settlement positions into the December options contract. At today's insider-held options positions expire, and then we've got August going into delivery on Monday, on the 31st. So you'll see that as after this is published on Friday, with the back EFP door already witnessing very large conversions to spot of COMEX outflows into spot. And these predatory agent banks, sanctioned swap dealers, are now increasingly constrained to capitalizing on really the plain vanilla average $38 contango in this instance. With competing central banks aware of this game, there is far too much leakage of casino chips being converted into physical gold. However, while the Fed agent banks are actually trying to cap gold, we're also evidencing these very same banks, including every other first and second year bank, aggressively adding physical gold to their own house accounts. Why wouldn't you if you're that close to the market? And we continue to have dialogue with our Russian contacts who report increasingly large Asian spot gold demand, as well as competing Moscow Futures Exchange demand now becoming relevant. Spot gold in Moscow continues to match London foreign exchange gold, I mean, it's tick for tick, at a minimum trading at a flat to $1 to $2 premium. Interestingly, into the gained trade at settlement air pockets last Friday, Moscow spot commanded a very large $10.30 premium to local London spot. In fact, I just checked just a few minutes ago, today on Wednesday, and currently that is spot is commanding an $11.80 premium to local London spot. Look, this is drawing Indian demand away from London. While notably Moscow futures are now closely matched with the December COMEX futures contract, or trading in at a $29.90 premium to the August contract, off-grid, these competing increasingly liquid, and I will underscore, increasingly liquid Russian spot and futures premiums are attracting bullion in size to circumvent the legacy ring-fenced containment market and is tightening Western bullion supply. So really, to sum it up, the war against gold has opened up competition and it's getting traction. We continue to see the BRICS summit next month as the pivot point and want to add to our bullion holdings ahead of this event, hence closely tracking the unprecedented daily TAS trader settlement volumes, which may offer an opportunity to buy discounted gold and silver into the end of the month's gold and silver paper market containment. However, given the strong physical uptake and ability to EFP these paper gold into deliverable gold positions, we see dips are shallow and quickly jumped on.
Andrew, for everyone in the community that is a trader, do you have any kind of short-term observations on what they can expect?
Yeah, Shane, the August options expiries and FOMC today will largely evidence the last squaring of these onerous trade at settlement spread trades being squared. Now, this episode will be published, as I say, on Friday, so you will know the outcome. But we've already evidenced several disruptive legs of the expiring August longs being squared ahead of the directly related December shorts being closed, creating air pockets. However, as we reported after our last options expiry last month, and which was the 29th of June, the rising, very large central bank bids at spot 1950 have consistently been front-run by these predatory Fed-sanctioned Asian banks. Now, this follows, as I say, specs being extremely wrong-footed naked short at 1900 into last month's June's options expiry on the 29th, which was their way of squaring up all their derivative bets. But as we said, this looked like a miscalculations. But because the lion's share of these momentum specs, which had created this overshoot into central banks' hands, had only just short covered now on the crust back up at about 1958.70, which they tend to trade on the moving averages. That was the 100-day moving average. And just for reference now, the 100 is at $1,970 today. Now, this is another reason we're focusing on this inflection confluence, which has so far generated very little spec long open interest for insiders to ignite. So if they aren't long, what have you got to ignite? So that means that anything below that level is naked short specs and will be short-lived because the commercials will be on the long side of it. So regardless, wholesale market footprint suggests that central bank stair-step support is migrating higher from last month's 1900 level to spot 1950. We're watching this really closely. And if this proves out, and we'll know following OPEX gaming and FOMC today, then the Asian bank insiders will not want to miscalculate another large aggregation of central bank physical orders being filled, this time $50 higher per ounce than the trader settlement gaming into last month's options expiries. Look, if you're a trader, gold sub 2,000 is a no-brainer bargain, and silver sub $26 is an absolute steal. Longer term, silver looks cheap, sub $100, and gold looks really cheap, sub $2,500. But look, there's only one question remaining in our minds. How much gold and silver, guys, do you own now?
Not enough. There you heard it from the horse's mouth. Andrew McGuire. We got to come up with a name for him. But there you go. 25. Anything under 2,500 and anything under 100 is a joke. I'm saying silver hits 500 on its way to 1,000, on its way to 2,000. As it rises, more people find interest. So like the VCR I was talking about, I spent $1,000 on, then it slowly went to 800, 500, 200, 100. And the same thing, silver, as it goes to 100 and 200 to 500, people then start noticing, going, oh, fuck, silver really does move. It really is a good source of money and asset. There's no risk. What the fuck am I doing in stocks and bonds? And then they start jumping. And then once the feeding frenzy happens, then it's 2,000. The same with gold. Once gold hits 2,500, it goes to 3, it goes to 5, it goes to 10, it goes to 20. As the feeding frenzy goes, the more silver you buy, you'll be able to take the silver to buy the gold. The 10 ounces of silver that you bought, maybe it's 12 or 13, you buy an ounce of gold with. So that's how you're going to afford the $40,000 ounce of gold, is with your 10 or 12 ounces of silver that is now at 4,000 an ounce or 3,000 an ounce, because it all goes together. And you can see what's happening. So they're getting and killing COMEX. They're getting all the central banks are long gold. So they're all expecting it to go up. The whole BRICS countries. So everything's very positive for gold and silver. You have no risk. Go buy as much as you can. And understand, if I stay on the Titanic, I'm pretty sure the boat's sinking. I'm pretty sure the boat's going down. So your choice is stay in this, or stocks or bonds, or real estate trust, whatever you have this in, as it crumbles to zero, or I can get out of it, buy my gold and silver on its way up that I have no risk on versus the risk I have in this. And that's about as clear as I could show you. So anyway, that was Andrew McGuire yesterday. I'll look today if there's any new Agons now that I found his channel of gold and Gold Switzerland. Gold Switzerland. So I will look for Gold Switzerland. See, Agon maybe be out, but he's basically the same. I don't care. I don't look at the price. I know it's all going up. I know the central banks are killing the currency. And that's why you have to back the currency by gold. That goes to zero every time, because they just keep printing it and printing it. And the problem is, as you print, you lose value. It's like eating donuts. The more you eat, you're going to gain weight. You're not losing weight eating donuts, right? So you're eventually going to gain weight eating donuts. So eventually your dollar is going to go down if you keep printing it. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. And that's basically what we have going on. And we've talked about it thoroughly, but it needs to be discussed. It's getting close to BRICS. It's getting close. Now we have like BRICS. Before we had BRICS, but now it's really, and now it's August, and we're in July 29th. So anyway, keep that in mind. Football, we got a month. We got preseason game, I think August 2nd. It's a weird, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. It must be Thursday night. Was it Green Bay and the Jets, or Cleveland and the Jets, or something? I don't think Rodgers will play, but he should play he should play a series or two. I mean, if you're that worried about him getting hurt, then he shouldn't be playing at all. I mean, that's it's like the pitching. You can only pitch 100 pitches. Well, if you're so worried about the pitcher can't pitch more than 100 pitches, probably shouldn't be out on the team, and you probably need a new manager and a whole new strategy, because you ain't winning if you're not letting your pitchers pitch. And I mean, 7, 8 innings, and every fourth day, not this 5-day crap. Because there's just not enough pitchers to go around. You'll never win on a 5-day 100 pitch because you can't find that many pitchers. So only the teams with the good pitchers have a big advantage because most of these other teams have 4 or 5 bad ones. As we go through the ERAs of 6, 7, 8, these guys aren't even major league pitchers. But since they want to play the game of every 5th day, so you see this will probably change. Like there used to be a gold-backed currency, then it's COMEX, it's fiat, the whole world is all going to collapse. And I think that's what happens in baseball. And you had 4 pitchers pitching, every 4th day, and then now it's this. And I think it ends up going back to that because the injuries are there, and you got so many bad pitchers on your team, you can't win anyway. So you might as well go back to the other way. Let's see if my pool got open. Well, I don't see anything. I'll have to call them. See if my pool's open. It's been closed since Wednesday. I was there yesterday. I was there Thursday. I was working from there Thursday, but it wasn't open. I did ride the bike, and then yesterday I got an email they closed. I don't know how long. I mean, my power came back on Thursday, so I don't know. I lost it Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and it came back Thursday at about 3 o'clock. When I got home at 3, it was on. So the library was close. I ended up working at the health club. I got a little table and chair, and there was only a few plugs that worked. And I took a Teams meeting for 2 hours at the club. And then I went to a restaurant that was open, and I had my computer on. So I was working during lunch, which I like, which I usually do. Here I'll cook omelets or whatever, but today's a fast day. I'm not eating today. I need a day to reset. Too much sweets. The cherries fucked me over. Too many cherries. You get a bag, and you can't just eat them like popcorn. You gotta eat them. Okay, I can have 5 or 6, and that's it. Just like grapes. Any of those sweet fruits, you can't eat a lot of. So then it got me into being hungry and a sweet tooth. So now I'm like, okay, I don't like to see myself with the gut or my eyes hurting. So today's not eating. I'll get my Chinese, but I'm not going to eat it today. I'll probably eat it tomorrow for dinner. So I'll probably do a 48-hour fast. I last ate at, I think, 5 o'clock yesterday. So I'm close to 24 hours, but I need a big one. So this is what I try to explain. You've already gone 24, and then just go to sleep, and it's 36. And if you can, now you're already into it. So the longer you can go, you're already there. It's hard that start, but once you're there, so I'm at about 20 hours now. So once it gets to 24, if I don't eat tonight, then it's Saturday night, and then it's sleep, and then you get up Sunday, and now you're already at another 12 hours. So you're at 6 a.m., I'm at 36 hours. I go to noon, it's 42, but I probably want to wait till dinner, and then I'll have my general chow. I would get it tomorrow, but they're not open on Sundays. So I go to, so I get it today. I normally eat half today and half tomorrow. But when I'm fasting like this, I would go tomorrow, but they're not open. So I go there. So I'm going to have to call the club and see if they are fucking open or not. Just insane. Because it's where the courthouse is and the library are, is where the club is. It's all like city. It's like a city place. I can't believe they still don't have power. I mean, you'd think they'd do that first, not last. anyway, so we will see. I'm prepared either way. Yesterday I went to the lake and walked a mile for the first time in a long time. So I'll do that if I have to, but it is so hot out. I really don't. But I do want to hit the pool and do my leg stretches and my running. I prefer to run in a nice cool pool than in 90-degree heat at the lake. Anyway, that's about it. Football, Teaser King's up and ready to go. Passwords are in. Everything's set. Prices are set. We're doing $5.99 for the year, so I don't get $10.99 for $600. And again, you can make payments, or if you want the full year, every game, it's $750. So all the pros, which you get all the pro locks, $5.99. And that's the full 24 weeks. That's all the way through the Super Bowl. College is all the way through the bowls. Again, it's $5.99. And then if you want them both, it's only $750, not $1,200. And again, if you want to make a couple of payments, I understand inflation and everything. So yeah, we can do that. Then I would suggest as we win to go buy gold and silver with it. You really don't want to stay in money. And if I could, I would accept gold and silver, but I'll take the money and then go to the store and buy more gold and silver with it. So I'll do it that way. But that's what we have. So you've got BRICS, you've got gold and silver about to go through the roof. Doesn't look like JP Morgan and the Feds can stop it. The Russians are getting pissed because of the sanctions and the war, and China is right with them. So I don't see that being a problem that the U.S. is going to go to war with China and Russia. This is the way we go to war with Russia. We let the Ukrainians fight. What kind of fucking war is this? The Ukrainians will fight. Can you imagine Hitler? So we're going to fight. We're going to fight the Germans, but we're going to send the French to fight them, or we'll send the Ukrainians to fight Hitler. I mean, we won't go, but we'll send them. I mean, what the fuck is that? It's our war against Russia now. It's not the Ukraine's war. Anyway, I think that's about it. Questions, comments, no questions. Bobby, I hope you're well. Have a good day. Everybody watching and listening, have a good day. I think that's about it. So we see gold and silver going up soon. My guy still has some, but he had the Philharmonics, and he says people just come in to sell it. They need the money. So he can't even find gold to buy. Well, I guess he could if I gave him 10 grand and said, buy me 5 ounces. He would then, with that, he would go find me 5 ounces. But outside of that, it's people come and they sell their gold, and he kind of, buys them at spot and sells them at the premium. So yeah, if that makes him happy, the premiums are still so far under. Silver at 27 an ounce. Fine, you can make $3 an ounce on it. Unbelievable. But again, do what you can. Don't do it where you then need to sell it. So I didn't buy the half ounce of gold, cost me $1,022. If I need the money and I got to sell it back to him because I need the $1,022. Only the extra money that you get in, okay, I pay the bills, pay the girls, and then, okay, this is what I got left. And instead of going into the bank, it buys gold and silver with it. So you have so much in the bank for, if I lose my job, I can still pay my bills. There's that. And then the rest is gold and silver. You got money in stocks, put it into gold and silver, or bonds or real estate trusts or any bullshit that they sold you in all these movies. Get the fuck out of those and get into gold and silver. You're going to lose in all the Titanic money. The dollar's gone. I mean, it's paper, it's gone. All the fiat's gone. That's why BRICS is coming out with gold, because China doesn't want to sell us and get U.S. dollars. Neither does the Russians. Neither does Europe. Neither does Asia. They don't want U.S. dollars. They know they're worthless. So they only want to get paid in gold. What good is it to sell all this product and get $1 billion of U.S. dollars? What good is it? It's all worthless. They want to get paid in gold, and I don't blame them. I would too. So keep that in mind. So that's it. We got our lock today, Minnesota over Kansas City, and a lot of other good overs that I went over. Again, football, Joe Burrow is okay. Again, we got a month. Figure he's out 2 weeks. Then he's just got to be careful with the calf, whatever he needs to do. I hope it's not reoccurring. I hope sit out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then, okay, now you're 100%. This is the problem with the running quarterback. He gets hurt. He hurts his calf. If it's Tom Brady, he ain't doing that shit, especially in preseason. They're in shorts and a T-shirt. I don't know what he's doing running, and then he hurts his calf. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I didn't understand that at all. But he gave the wink to Chase, so he's okay. So that's all I care about. All right, so maybe we'll look at more football, baseball tomorrow. I like Saturday because Andrew McGuire's on Fridays, so we can talk about him. See, it's much better when he talks about it and there's no guest than when he has a stupid guest that we don't even agree with, and we're watching the guy's show with the guest. I want to watch Andrew McGuire's concepts. I don't want to watch Peter Schiff on the show as a guest, his concepts. I already know I don't like him. He's already an idiot. He doesn't know economics. So what do I want to listen to him for? That's the problem. Just like you don't want somebody here that I'm talking to. You don't want to see Joe Blow next to me, and then he makes his comments. You're like, fuck, I don't want to listen to him. I don't know who he is, and I don't trust him. You trust the professor. That's the difference. You come to hear me. I come to hear him and Alligator and Egon. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear the guests, because the guests don't know what they're talking about, especially the U.S. guys who are just trying to sell gold to you. But they can't explain it. They don't know why, but it's just, I know gold. Gold's gold. Yeah, demand's up, but the price isn't. Oh, maybe it's because of COMEX. But he explains COMEX is going out and why, and that's really the key. All right. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. Football is up and running. Again, really starts August 27th or 8th with the college. So good luck with that. We're keeping an eye on injuries. And again, we're trying to market the team so we know who we have. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Go enjoy. It's 1:44. Hopefully I'm off to the pool. Otherwise, I'll be walking to try to take advantage of my fast. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Feel good. Feel healthy. If you don't feel good, do a fast. Do a day fast. The green tea, the ginger tea, the cinnamon, all that stuff. Very good for you. Okay. Have your eggs. Have your steaks. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com.